guess it's good. All right, here it is. It's working.
There we go.
All right. Hello, we're on. We're live. Marco, thank you so much for being on here.
What up? Thank you. What up, everybody? What up, Dave Vaughn? And let me share this in my Discord right quick.
Okay, sounds good. Hello, Micaiah. Hello, Alex. Hello, Johnny. So this is going to be really cool. We're going to be, I've got some video clips that we're going to look at. And the first one is going to be of Sean Reyes. It's Utah Attorney General. He spoke at a Life Vantage convention in 2020. And this is a Utah-based MLM. And then I thought, it's only 8 minutes and it's really weird. I found this video clip on Facebook and they loop it for 4 hours, but it's only about an 8.5-minute interview. And it's not him doing a presentation. It's just him like being interviewed. And then they're going to be talking that he's going to do this keynote speech. I thought it would be cool to show this because there's so many people that ask, why do people still get sucked into MLMs? And if you see the Utah Attorney General thinks that this like MLMs are a good business opportunity, like he's so brainwashed, you're not going to believe it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait. How you doing, Julie?
I'm doing really good. How about you? How are things going with you? You got a new cease and desist.
Oh, it's another day on the job.
Yeah.
You know, I'm great. I'm actually happy that I came back to doing this content because I really think I'm the best person to like deal with these sort of things. Like hold on, is my microphone? No, hold on. My audio is bad. Let me go back.
Okay. Beyond says I have a lot to say about Utah.
There we go. And hold on 1 second. Sorry about that.
I'll do this. There we go.
I had my mic set up to a different. Oh no, my audio was good.
Hey!
Because it's going through stream. Whatever. I was looking at my OBS, but you know, I think many people would crumble under the pressure of constant cease and desists and you know other things, but you know it's okay. I'm here. I'm having a good day, so I'm not dead.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
Oh, Jennifer Ryla is here. Hello, Jen.
Yes.
So I don't know if you know this, but the Dream podcast with Jane Marie has just released season 3, and Jen is on. Like her story is woven throughout that entire season, but she's on 2 episodes, episode 3 and episode 5. And she goes in, you should see, like Jane Marie calls Ray Higdon a mid-tier coach. And
I did see a clip, or I listened to a clip or a preview of it. I don't even remember when or how, but yeah, I heard that, and I think that's generous. That's generous to Ray.
I agree. I just really like the offhanded, casual way that she said it. Oh, she's good. And she tells Jen's story so well, and it's so good. So if you haven't listened to the Dream podcast, the first episode has Aaron Bees talking on it, and that's awesome too. So, and then they have Jen as well. So that's 2 anti-MLM creators, you know? Yay!
Nice.
Yeah.
What up, everybody? Thank you. I'm seeing nice compliments. Thank you. Appreciate it. Everyone's trying to gain favor with their cult leader, so I like that.
That's what happens.
Brownie points, they'll take you far in this cult.
That's okay. All right. Do you have anything else you'd like to you want to talk about the petition? Because we could like talk about that, and then also at the end.
I want to talk about the petition, and I want to talk about this girl that's at my gym that keeps me going back. No, actually, we don't have to talk about that. But this petition, I mean, there is a very beautiful girl that goes to my gym, but this petition, change.org, and I'll post the thing. I'll post the link to it in the chat if Julie permits me. I'm not sure if
link, yes, post it. You could post your Streamlabs link too if you want. Go for it.
No, I need to shorten the URL of this. Here, I have it on my community post as a shortened link. Okay. I'll share it from that. But this basically what's happening, you guys, is on Wednesday there is this actually sounds, I can't even believe this is a real thing, but there is a I don't even know what you would call this, an event going down in Washington called DSA Hill Day. And it's basically literally the Direct Selling Association, which is the cartel of multi-level marketing companies, gets together at Capitol Hill to, you know, eat little hors d'oeuvres and talk and bullshit and, you know, kiss ass with the people who make the laws in the United States and by extension the rest of the world, because most of the big MLMs are based in the US. So the laws that are, you know, put forth in the United States sort of have ramifications throughout the rest of the world. And it's really just gross. It's just like the most pure, unfiltered example of government corruption. Like, they're not even hiding it. It's not even like some secret Illuminati meeting where like the DSA, you know, leader or director is meeting up with like people behind the scenes and donating money. Like, it's all out in the open. Like, it's something they promote. It's a public thing. And I've said before that I think one of the key things that's going to make this change is here, I'm posting the link in the chat. Maybe you can pin this comment in the chat. I think one of the things that's going to make a change. Frick, I don't know if that link is clickable. You might have to post it, Julie. But anywho, I think one of the things that's going to make a big change is, you know, politicians, obviously they want to line their pockets, and that's usually how they make decisions about what bills they support and don't support. But the other thing that maybe takes even higher priority than them lining their pockets is them making sure they get reelected. And so I've said before that as time goes on, I think putting pressure on these lawmakers and like magnifying them by name and identifying them by name and you know, sort of casting the public shame on them, for lack of a better description, is what it's going to take for them to realize, maybe this actually isn't in the best interest of my, you know, image or reelection, potential for supporting this. So what this petition is this petition was created by somebody who was a speaker at the MLM conference back in March that I also spoke at. And we're trying to get, this is really the first time I'm aware of that members of the public have had the opportunity to sign a petition to voice their, I guess, anti-MLM view. It's free. You don't have to sign up. It literally took me probably 20 seconds, like not even exaggerating, to do it. And this is going to be submitted to the government, I guess, and sent specifically to you know, specific members of Congress and people in power to show that there is a growing demand for regulation on MLM. And what this petition is it's a petition to include MLM in the business opportunity rule, which I've talked about in my videos before. And it's basically a rule that governs all, you know, gig opportunities. You know, if you're presented with a work from home opportunity or some sort of gig opportunity, the business opportunity rule is a rule that says you have to, you know, the employer or the person presenting the opportunity has to provide you with like some disclosure, like a one-sheet disclosure about, are people successful in this? What does it actually entail? And as we know, MLM doesn't do that. MLM employs subterfuge at every level and tells you, you know, what is your why? And this is how you're going to make $1 million. And don't ask me, just look at all the success stories. I used to live in a mud hut. Now I drive a Lamborghini, and they're anything but transparent. So this is a step in the right direction. And I also roll my eyes at it a little bit because asking for more regulation on something that is, in my opinion, criminal fraud is sort of a silly thing, because to say that we want the MLM industry to be, you know, to adhere to the business opportunity rule or to be included in it, sort of inadvertently admits that it is like a legit industry that just needs regulation. I don't believe it's a legit industry that needs regulation. I believe it's a scam and a cult. And anyways, it's a step in the right direction. Obviously, they're not just going to overnight go, okay, let's shut it down. But as time goes on, maybe we'll see more concessions. It starts with maybe the business opportunity rule. I actually mentioned this specifically in my speech in March, that I said this would be a good first step. And I'm glad to see now, if, some months later, that it's, action is being taken on it. And I know I'm ranting here, but yeah, sign the thing. And it's a step in the right direction. And Robert, I talked to Robert Fitzpatrick for about 2 hours on the phone yesterday, and we once again touched on this thing that we always come back to, which is that even saying you are anti-MLM is kind of ridiculous, because you would never say you're anti-murder or anti-theft. We know MLM is a calculated deception, a calculated con, fraud, cult, scam, grift, whatever you want to call it. We know that. It's a measurable fact. Okay, it's a fact. And so to say you are anti-MLM sort of creates a level playing field, where now it makes it look like I'm a critic or you're on one side of an issue. It's not. There's no sides. There's right and wrong. Those are not sides. You know what I mean? It's not something that could be debated. So anyways, that's my blurb on it. I have mixed feelings, because I'm frustrated that, I feel like in this position, we're like the little brother asking, playing the video game next to their older brother but the controller's unplugged. And it's like, we're just being kind of included. I think it's bullshit, but it is a step in the right direction. And I do endorse people signing it. So sorry for the rant, but yeah.
Oh, don't apologize. That's good. And, even for like somebody coming out of MLM, when you're like, file a report with the FTC and it seems way too like overwhelming and complicated, I can attest that this is easy to sign, and you don't have to leave a comment if you don't want to. So it really is. And I did put a link in the description of this video, because I have no idea how to do a shortened like URL, whatever. I barely know how to make fucking thumbnails.
So you're getting better. You're getting better at it. And Beyond summarizes it very well. He says literally just a showroom for buying a senator. Is basically, in my opinion, that is what it is. They're going to go in there, all people from the tops of the biggest MLM companies. I won't say names because I have enough legal issues as it is. But go into the Capitol Hill, all the senators, and it's basically going to be an under the table, what's your price fest. It's gross. And to me it's akin to having like a known Mexican drug cartel leader publicly posting about how he's going to have his cartel hill day, day on the hill for the Mexican cartel to go and schmooze lawmakers. It would never fly in any other crime. But of course, MLM is probably the most well insulated and well protected crime in history. So here we are.
And there's going to be a petition that may be presented, and hopefully, even if it's just creating more awareness, like I think that just the petition itself is useless as tits on a bull. But I think that just having awareness of like people starting to get mobilized in the long term might be helpful, because I'm really doubtful of it too. But I'm like, yes, people can sign it,
You were on that meeting today, Julie, and I won't say anything that sort of divulges any secrets of the meeting, but we had our own little Illuminati meeting today, and I'm glad to see you were involved in that. But I could, I also assume that you feel similarly to me, which is that it's kind of weird that we're having these conversations where we talk about regulation. Regulations are for real businesses. Regulations are for things that are not crime. You don't regulate murder and rape and theft. Why? Because it's inherently wrong. There's no right way to do it. And then to add to the absurdity of the whole thing, the Direct Selling Association has this, what's it called? Direct selling, self-regulatory, blah, blah, blah. It's the fox guarding the hen house, the old saying, oh no, we have very strict standards. And who are the ones saying this? The same ones that are perpetuating the scam across the world to the tune of approximately $1 trillion. So it's a big fucking joke. Forgive my language. And yeah, it is. It's a joke. And, you know, even if you guys don't choose to sign the petition, even you being subscribed to people like myself or Julie or whoever, anti-MLM creators, the growth of anti-MLM creators as a whole, like let's say if you add up the subscriber base of every anti-MLM creator, I know there's some overlap between each, but if you add up the subscriber base of all the anti-MLM creators, it's a continuously growing and substantial number of people. In my opinion, every person, you know, the subscriber count of every anti-MLM creator is sort of a petition in its own way. It's like, look how many people are supporting this content. Look how many people are consuming this content and sharing their stories. So this is just another sort of more organized bulletin, I guess, to be able to do that. And but regardless, I'm going to keep, you know, I think it is, I have my complaints about it, but I'm going to keep doing what I think is the most important thing to keep doing, which is making videos that get lots of views and you know, bring awareness to people. So yeah. And you know, like even like this, spreading awareness about this petition, and then you're making videos, you know, going undercover and doing these exposés, and also creating more resources for people leaving these commercial cults, because there is a shocking lack of them, because culturally MLMs are considered the American dream. It's like embedded into it. And I think as more and more anti-MLM creators of all, like with all different perspectives, voices, where they're just sharing their stories, their experiences, that is a resource for people. Because if it like, say, just like the power of God came down and was like, that's it, MLMs are done, people aren't educated about it. Like I wasn't in 2021, I was still in. Yep.
And I didn't know. And it's like, you need to know, because if people don't know, they're going to get sucked into something else. And that's when you see people go from MLM to MLM. So there's so many components to this, but yeah.
Yep.
All right. Beyond says, listen, you haven't really made a mark until the MLM lobby firebombs your house.
Yeah. You know, maybe this is, I mean, perhaps the enemy is watching this. I mean, the eyes are everywhere, but you know, I have no intention of like bending the knee to scammers and criminals. I get, you know, at this point, it's just another day at the office for me to get some kind of threat, whether it's a private account. You know, I've had private accounts from MLM companies who I won't name go through my following list on Instagram, find family members of mine, and then start trying to dig up information about who my family is and sending them heinous messages. And it's like, I've seen that. I've had my Instagram taken down, like through hacks and spam bot attacks, legal action, cease and desist letters, you name it. Even if I was to lose some lawsuit, hypothetical lawsuit against an MLM company, I want everybody to know I would never relinquish a red cent to an MLM company. I would literally rather do whatever jail time that the judge decreed that equaled the amount that I owed. Like if it means 30 days in jail, I will happily do that. It's like, this is such a, I think such a big issue of our time. And I think we're going to look back in 10, 20 years and it's going to be a different ball game. So, you know, I keep my eyes out for the green or red laser pointing at me through the window. But yeah, this is enough has been enough for a long time. So
yeah. And just, you know, for a company to act like this is a lot like Scientology. This is when people talk about, and when I talk about it, you talk about it, them being commercial cults, multi-level marketing companies, they're commercial cults. This is how they behave. So can you imagine any other company in their right fucking mind going through somebody's, like a YouTuber's Instagram followers to try to dig up dirt and to do these threats? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely contradictory to how they say they don't care. Oh, people in your life will always try to talk negative. If what's that thing they love to share, that infographic where it's like, if you go get in a bunch of debt to go to college, people will clap for you. If you go into whatever negative behavior, people will support you. If you go and get in debt for a car, people will clap for you. But when you start your own business, everybody disappears, and it's like such fucking bullshit. And then for attacking, for like silencing critics, the companies, of course, can always say, oh, well, it wasn't us. But, okay, it was your independent distributor. Where did they learn it from? I don't think even the biggest tech YouTubers that make videos about Apple have ever had like threats from Apple or people who are fans of Apple. It's just, it only happens in cults, and MLM is very prone to it. And I mean, on that note, the corporate entities themselves do take action. So, I'm not getting cease and desist letters from independent distributors. I'm getting cease and desist letters from the lead counsel of the CEO of X company that's been around for 30, 40 years. So, but that's a good thing too. It means they see us, we're doing something. It's a big enough worry for them that they have to do shit like that. So fuck them, keep going.
Yeah, that's right. And I wanted to say this too about that business opportunity rule in this petition, because multi-level marketing companies, and I know when I was in it, I said these same things, but we're like a franchise. We're like Starbucks. It's like real estate. We always make all these comparisons to other businesses. With the business opportunity rule, it's like MLMs want to be excluded from that. And that's not fair. If you're such, when you're always comparing yourself to all these other legitimate businesses,
Absolutely.
like real estate or whatever, why the hell should you be exempt then? Why do you need to have that exemption? Well, we know why you need to have that exemption, because if you were to disclose basic business information like every other business has to, people would see, well, they would still get sucked in, because this is all just shit anyway, a shit show. But there's a more potential for people to see that it's a scam, and they don't want to, they want to be exempt from it. And this is what really pisses me off when I was reading about that petition, is they said the FTC is thinking about closing the loophole. Like, really? Of course you are thinking about closing the loophole. Way to go, FTC.
Even more, the FTC sitting there with their thumb up their ass. We did something. Even more ironic than what you said, Julie, is that if MLMs had to adhere to franchise rules and franchise laws, it would be even more strict than what's being proposed with the business opportunity rule. So that adds another layer of complete absurdity to it. It's just like a franchise. Okay, but it's not a franchise. So how do you explain that? Well, they'll just change the story as it suits them. Oh, well, you're an independent contractor. Okay, so I'm a 1099 contractor. That's not like a franchise. But when it suits them to say it's like a franchise, they'll say it's like a franchise. It's really, I talked to Robert yesterday about a lot of things, but one of the things I mentioned to him was I'm going to do a video, which is a complete and comprehensive guide of every little language trick and phrase or riddle that MLM people use, so that you can, they call it objections. They're really not objections. They're fair questions that they view as objections, because of course, anyone who asks you a question about this great opportunity is a hater and a miserable dream stealer. So it's an objection. So I'm going to do a video where I rebut all the rebuttals that they would give, where they say things like everything is a pyramid, or your family is multi-level too, or, it's like a franchise. All of the examples they give, I'm going to create a comprehensive guide and do a video where, it can be a resource with chapters where anytime somebody hears one of those things that they don't quite know how to respond to, this points out the logical fallacy.
Ooh, that's going to be good, because that's going to help people as they exit these commercial cults and they start to find anti-MLM content and trying to like piece together why this doesn't make sense. It's like they kind of know, but they don't really know. And it takes a while. Like it took me a year and a half of starting to question before I was able to like get all this information. I'm going to be interviewing Chris Shelton, a former Scientologist. because he's had an interview with Robert Fitzpatrick, and I came across an interview with him, John Atack, and then recovering Hunbot, Alanda Carter, and it was really good. And when I saw the interview with him and Robert Fitzpatrick, he was like, MLMs are cults. I was like, oh, fuck, I got to get this guy on here because he's going to help bring like his experience, his insights of being in Scientology and how to like help people recover, for lack of a better way of describing this, because you're not like helping people. This isn't therapy, but just to get more resources out there. So that's what I'm going to be. That's my next project I'm working on.
That's really exciting. That'll be really good. There also needs to be more like professional publications or academic publications on MLMs as cults as well. I think I recently did my interview with Stephen Hassan. That's probably coming out this week. And he referred me to another gentleman named Stephen Kent, who's a expert in this field, sociology, psychology. And Stephen Kent is actually here in Edmonton. And so I called Stephen Kent and we had a conversation about MLM, and I was seeing if he would be open to, submitting a statement or being an expert witness in a case that I have right now. He has 25 cases. He's been involved as an expert or through court testimony in 25 cases about Scientology, 3 about Satanism, 1 about the children of God, etc., and 0 about MLM. But we had an interesting conversation about it, and he said, yeah, I think it's just that the reason you don't see more professionals who have been experts in this space is because should any psychology or sociology expert or academic expert publish something about MLM, well, they're risking being sued into oblivion or having their, the school they work for be sued, and then now they're a liability to the school. And it's just one of the many ways that MLM continues to control the narrative through, the ever omnipresent threat of coercion, lawsuits, whatever.
It's bullshit. Because then you see someone, it's like, so then you're speaking out, you get sued. Invested Lifestyle, Elaine Linga, she's being sued.
Yeah.
Then you see You've Reached Melanie. She's like I don't like to say smaller creator, but a creator that is like less followers or she's being fucking sued by Nuvita, for fuck's sakes. This is ridiculous that this is happening. But you'll have like professionals that are too afraid to come forward because they're being sued. So then what do you have? You have like people that have just left these multi-level marketing companies, or people like yourself who have lost, a friendship to it. And then it's like, we're taking the hits. There's a line. I think of it as there's a line that when you're in MLM and you do start to see what's going on and you fucking choose to stay because you say to yourself, I have golden handcuffs. I'm making this 6-figure income. I am, and they really are. And I retired my husband and I don't know what to do. And they make that choice. And that there's no difference in my mind right now between someone like that and someone that doesn't want to come forward. Like not one expert in the world who comes forward and says MLMs are cults. How can it be that they're that fucking scared?
Well, Steve Hassan has mentioned in both Freedom of Mind and Combating Cult Mind Control.
That's true. Yeah,
you're right. He doesn't mention specific names, but he does mention it. A cult could be a multi-level marketing company, could be a cult and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, where is Shelley Miscavige? The question in Scientology, that's the big question, is where is David Miscavige's wife, who mysteriously disappeared all those years ago because, as the rumor goes, she defied him and now she's locked away in the tallest tower somewhere, like a fairy tale storybook. Don't be surprised in the future if there's a where is Marco Muchaber, because it's only going to escalate. There's, they've seen with me that the cease and desists don't work. Soon enough, they will see that the lawsuits don't work. It's only going to escalate. So, big risk, big reward, hopefully. But yeah.
I want to read these comments. Dave Vaughn says the DSA just announced their support for codifying independent contractor status for direct sellers. This is an issue as it further ties MLMs into legitimate legal definitions of employment.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be the next step in that. I actually see that as good and bad. It's bad for the reason Dave says, which is that you're, classifying MLM distributors as direct sellers. But as Robert so eloquently wrote in his accompanying book to Ponzinomics called Direct Selling, a nonfiction fable, direct selling doesn't really exist anymore. There are the extremely niche, high-ticket sales like private jets where that would be a direct sale. There's a broker issuing it. But for what products that people generally actually use, could you say direct selling is still a thing? It's limited to reselling shit from, basically garage selling or Facebook Marketplace, secondhand clothes and whatever else. It's not an industry, So I think the upside of that is that you could very easily run some feasibility test. You would, an economist and I guess it would be an economist that would run that type of test. But yeah, the data already exists that shows that actual direct selling accounts for less than 1% of all retail sales. So if they know that it accounts for less than 1% of retail sales, presumably they know the dollar number that equates to. So all you would have to do then is compare the number that MLM brings in and the number that direct selling brings in. And probably you would see that the number MLM is bringing in is way bigger or is the full 100% of what direct selling brings in, which would bring you back to the conclusion that, actually, this is not direct selling because all the money is coming from MLMs that we have just called direct selling. So, again, complete nonsense, but a step in the right direction. Never forget, Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble used to be smoking cigarettes in commercials. And, there was cigarettes that were, however, 9 out of 10 doctors prefer this brand of cigarettes to this brand. And obviously there's a whole movie, Thank You for Smoking, about, cigarette lobbying and the government collusion and whatever. I think if I do a book about MLM, perhaps I'll call it Thank You for Scamming, and I'll dive into the same topics, but we'll see.
All right. Okay, I have a piece of news that I want to share because I haven't shared it publicly yet. But I had something that I'd wanted to do was, and I passed my in Canada we have Royal Canadian Mounted Police RCMP, and I passed my security clearance. So I'm training now to be a victim advocate in the victim services unit. So
that's amazing. Big clapping sound effects for that. Give me the air horn. Where's that? There you go. Yeah. That's amazing. So obviously RCMP is a branch of, it's police. So is it, what's the scope of that? What's the scope of
it's so what I'm learning is you have 3 roles. It's support, information, and referral. So it's really when you're not there to counsel, you're not there to be a friend. It's just and what's so important is what happens in the media, what immediately happens afterwards when a victim needs help. Mm-hmm. And I know that because I've been a fucking victim of MLM, and a lot of this shit that I'm learning, I'm like, holy fuck, just learning the definition of traumatic bonding. All of these things have been documented thoroughly, but it hasn't been linked to things like MLM. So with victim services, it can, they talk about with abuse, domestic abuse. And if you give our intermittent praise and love, and then take it away, and then just, abuse or just detachment, whatever, that creates a bond. And that is the same as in cults and destructive commercial cults too. So as I'm doing a lot of this, going through these modules, I'm just, it's helping me understand what I've gone through. Right. And I'm really And so this is, so the reason why I did this was because there was a new service provider that came in for my position that I had as a community disability support worker. And there was uncertainty whether I was going to get on with a new service provider. So I went ahead and I applied for this position, but then I got the job. So now I thought, well, fuck it. You know what? I'm going to just do it in a volunteer capacity, because you still have to do the exact same things, but I'm just not getting paid for it. So that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, congratulations. That's amazing,
Thank
Julie. You. And, you know, I think this is really, you know, both of our superhero origin stories, like every superhero, comes from a, you know, it's spurred by a great negative that has been flipped into a positive. You know, you've had your experience in 5 years in Monade and Rank Makers with, you know, douchebag Ray Higdon. And, you know, now you're making a very impactful, very positive change. And, you know, if you help even one person, you know, like I think in our initial interview you and I did on my channel, I think you mentioned a dollar amount that's close to 6 figures. So in my opinion, it doesn't really matter the size of your platform. Obviously bigger means more people, and that's good. But if any of us, and I say this because a lot of people don't create content, but they have opportunities to make a difference, you should be so proud if you've prevented even one person from joining MLM, because you don't know what that road leads to, how many people they might victimize inadvertently, how much money they might spend. It's so much deeper, you know. Just think, I mean, I was trying to think about this recently and trying to quantify it. If I pretend that every one of my subscribers is a person who who didn't pay a starter fee for an MLM, or who just stopped their monthly subscription, and I multiplied the average amount of what an MLM starter fee is by the number of subscribers I have, it's like millions and millions of dollars that have been saved. And that's a conservative estimate, because how many people have I prevented, and have you prevented, from joining MLM that might have been a whale that would have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars? So it's really amazing. And I'm very proud. I've told you this before, but I'm very proud to see you doing this. And I think as the community of people who make videos about this stuff grows, there will be more and more. It's just inevitable. And so we're ironically kind of doing the same thing of spreading and multiplying the way MLM wishes it could.
It's true, duplication. And it's like each person that sees like a piece of your content, they talk about it. So over time, that's having a huge ripple effect as well. Just not even the direct people that have watched the video, but like people talk to it. And I really liked in that one Amway video that you made, where you have like a call to action at the end to encourage people to, you know, if you see something, like, it's okay, go up to them and tell them, you know, you don't have to, but if they feel comfortable, explain, this is a commercial cult, this is a scam, this is a pyramid scheme, this person was trying to recruit you. Just hearing that, even if people don't do it, they're going to be more aware of it. And that creating that awareness is so important.
Of course. And it's important to get to people early, like especially if you overhear someone in the coffee shop. And that's obviously what my Amway video is about, is me you know, intervening after the fact and telling this young girl who is being recruited, block that lady's number, she's trying to recruit you into a cult. That's so important to do, because I recognized that even though I was in the disadvantaged position, because the Amway lady had spent 30 minutes or however long talking to this girl, building up rapport. Now here I come in like a wrecking ball trying to shatter that rapport. But it's a lot easier to enter at that stage and intervene than it would have been a week later or 2 weeks later, when they'd spent even more time talking. And this is why it's also very difficult to you know, intervene with people who have been recruited by a close friend or family member who's been there for a long time as a fixture. So, and I mean, look at that Amway video. I think it came out a month ago, 52,000 views. I didn't promote it in any fashion, in any capacity, never like posted it to any external site or anything. 52,000 views, and I have 88,000 subscribers. So that's more than half of my entire audience. So think about, like, yeah, you're right. People talk about this and they share it. And I think if it weren't for videos like that being created, people would be less likely to speak out. But they go, they find comments and they go, oh, okay, you've described my experience precisely. And I made a video a few months ago about another MLM company who I shall not name. And literally thousands, no exaggeration, thousands between TikTok and YouTube, thousands of comments of people saying, you described my experience exactly as it was. So yeah, pat on the back for us and everybody that's spreading the word. Even if you have one follower, or even if you're just doing it amongst your friends and family, it's there's an indescribably large need for what we do.
Yeah, and even comments, like I say, comments are content. Because when I was in MLM, I was starting to wake up. I would go right to the comments because I knew if I liked a post, people would be able to see that. So there's that people are watching you and they're judging you, and you're afraid, like you're in terror. And a lot of us, that's what we do. We're like going and flocking to the comments and seeing what people are saying. I would also go on to Anti-MLM Reddit, and I'm like, why is it that it's not okay to post about, my dad passing away and I'm going to sell this shampoo? I really didn't understand it. I felt like I know it's wrong. I deleted the post, but then I'm like reading on my business page I had, but then I was reading an Anti-MLM Reddit, and it was through the comments that helped to unpack. It just helped to like figure out this isn't right. And it's like, that is fucked up that it is that deep, that even like things like the death of your parent, you can't see what you're doing is predatory. So if you thank you so much to everybody that leaves comments on whatever Anti-MLM creator that you do. Even it doesn't matter. It can be lengthy. It can be small. It is so important. So I want to just say thank you.
Yeah, everyone knows. The MLMs know at the top levels. They know what they're doing. The FTC knows what they're doing. I mean, even this petition is being classified as a loophole. Doesn't that right there admit that something is being done that's like sneaky? This is what perplexes me about the FTC and why I think they're such a joke, is because the FTC on their site has embedded the study that John Taylor did, the 2011 Consumer Awareness Institute study, that says 99% of people in MLM lose money, and then includes a list of virtually every MLM company from the past 30 years, minus, of course, the ones that have been shut down since. So the FTC right there co-signs the truth that MLM is not a legitimate opportunity because by virtue of the loss rates, I mean, there's no other industry or thing you could do that even comes close to the volatility of MLM. So it's like, how do you, it's completely hypocritical. It's like you guys admit that most people in MLM lose money, even in the legitimate MLMs, which are unicorns anyways. But so where is I have a new video coming out called What is a Pyramid Scheme with shout out to Beyond. Beyond is doing like animation, like graphics for it to really help visualize. But it's a short 10-minute video that explains what is a Ponzi scheme, what is a pyramid scheme, and what is an MLM. And what you find out is that a pyramid scheme is a Ponzi scheme with extra steps, and an MLM is just a pyramid scheme where money is laundered through the product. So, you've read Ponzinomics?
Yes, two times.
So in Ponzinomics, Robert talks about how MLMs will always use this defense of saying, we don't pay you to recruit. That would be a pyramid scheme. Except for when you recruit someone, they are mandated to make a purchase. You are then getting a commission from that purchase. But this is just a way of laundering the recruitment money through a very cheaply manufactured product with a high markup. So, and Robert says it so beautifully in the book, we don't pay you to recruit, but when you recruit, we pay you.
Exactly.
So it's again, we could go all day. Every element of MLM you discuss is rife with subterfuge and deception and language games and bullshit.
Yeah. You want to read some comments and we can get started on this?
Please.
Okay. I'm just scrolling back up here. Tretino, hello. Paid Assassins. Benjamin, hello. Oh, that was Davon. Haley says Scott gave Julie a 2 out of 10. He said she is as bad as Marco. Hi,
That's
Scott.
a very good score. That's a 100% increase on what my rating has been for a long, long time from Scott Johnson. When he gave me a 2 of 10, I actually felt great. Me and Robert talked about Scott and Peter too, and I told Robert that Scott specifically sort of reminds me of there's a character when I was a kid, there was this Superman cartoon, Superman the animated series, and I wonder if I can share with you here, if I can present. Here, share my screen. Let's see if I can do this. Here, there's a character in this Superman TV show called Mixus Spitlick, Mr. Mixus Spitlick, and yeah, this is it. And he's sort of like a little troll interdimensional character who's like, he's a bad guy, but he doesn't actually do anything really evil. He's just sort of a nuisance. You know what I mean? Like he'll just like turn Superman's cape into a slice of pizza and do silly little pranks and whatever. And to defeat him, it's sort of like a Rumpelstiltskin thing where you have to get him to say his own name. And I was telling Robert that Scott Johnson to me is basically Mr. Mixus Spitlick, because he's just like, he doesn't really do anything nefarious. He's just like this little mosquito, you know? So yeah, he agreed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Johnny says, I'd like to have anti-MLM pamphlets to drop in public restrooms like the religious pamphlets that get left. Yeah, or like those human trafficking signs that are posted up sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you very much, everyone, for the congratulations. And Glenn is here. MLM is fraud. Amway had 128,000 IBOs in 93 with a population of only 17.3 million. Today, Amway only has 91K IBOs with a population of 27 million. People like Marco and Julie are killing MLMs. And Jen says, none of those FTC regulators are distributors, they're owners. They need to convince people they're like them when they become a distributor, but they're not. They're the owner. And Robert's website has so many valuable resources.
I'm not
Scott,
sure what you mean by that.
What's that?
None of the FTC regulators are distributors, they're owners. What does she mean by that? The FTC regulators are owners of what? They need to convince people they're like them, but they're not the owner. Maybe I'm just not understanding the wording. I think it's.
I'm thinking it's like the not distributors of I don't know. I interpret it. It's like it's not distributors of like Amway or like an IBO or a market partner, but they're like maybe a business owner. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ange, hello. Super MLM man. Haley says Scott truly believes that only he and Sean Munger understand MLMs.
I love Scott. I really do. I love him in my own way.
And Micaiah says, it reminds me of when I went to DC and weed was legal, but selling it wasn't. I tried to buy a couple J's. They reiterated to me that the joints were free gifts that came with the purchase of XZY or XYZ. Yeah, it's like scalpers back in my day. They say, well, I'm selling this blade of grass for $400 and then you get this ticket for free. So
yeah. So clever, right?
Oh, Benjamin says MLM operators are retired FTC officials.
Oh, yes. I see what you mean.
Okay.
And vice versa. versa. The former, I think I brought this up on a stream a while ago, but Edith Ramirez, maybe most notoriously known for that clip from the John Oliver Last Week Tonight MLM video, where she's talking about the Herbalife settlement, and she says they were not determined not to have been a pyramid. Well, Edith Ramirez now works for a law firm, Hogan Lovells. And of course, she was the former chairwoman of the FTC. And now I believe one of Hogan Lovells' MLM clients is, I forget which company, Hogan Lovells MLM. I got to see which MLM it represents. So I'm sure Dave Vaughn knows, or Benjamin knows, somebody in the chat knows. But yeah, you there it is right there. You know, the former chair of the FTC is now getting paid a handsome sum and probably receives a king's welcome when she joins this firm, because she's prestigious, right? She's the former chairwoman. She's accomplished, established, whatever, reputable. And here she is, just collecting a check and doing the devil's bidding, in my opinion.
Yeah, see, this is the shit that pisses me off. So I'm just gonna get on the soapbox, then we can watch this video. But it's like you'll see these people that are employed by the FTC. They're supposed to be doing their jobs, but then they go off and then they get rewarded by defending multi-level marketing companies, or they get hired as a consultant as a multi-level marketing company. And then you have people most people are not making, they're losing money in MLMs, and they go out on their own and they've fucked up their reputation. They're terrified to speak out. They battle through all that. And when they do speak out, they get swarmed by everybody in multi-level marketing, not just their company. And they keep going just to speak out, and they do it, and they're not getting anything for it. Like, what a juxtaposition that is.
I mean, this has been going on a long time, this revolving door, as Robert describes it, from the FTC to MLM and vice versa. But it's never happened before. Creators with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers publicly saying, hey, Edith Ramirez, boo. So I think it definitely, they're still human. They're still human. And people who have money can very certainly be stressed about their public image, regardless of how much money they have. And I think that's where we're, obviously we don't have the money to do it. Well, let's get them where we can. And I think that
across social media platforms too, there's another anti-MLM creator. I don't know if you're aware of her, Canadian Kelts. She started off on TikTok making those spreadsheets of people in her small town in Saskatchewan.
Oh yes, I've seen that.
It's fantastic. And then, but she was like targeted. All these MLM, reps reported her account. So then she's like created a backup account, but she's also here on YouTube. And she's also on Instagram. And so her content is awesome. The comments that she gets there, she was making content from the comments just on TikTok. And all these people, same thing as like what you've experienced, what so many of us experience, are like, this is exactly my experience. And then she's, amplifying their voices too. So that's like, there's hundreds of thousands of, there's millions of people that are being made aware of this, and lots of creators with hundreds of thousands of followers, and it's only growing. So
yeah, I mean, if you add up all the MLM creators and all the platforms, especially, TikTok, there's a few big ones, and it's millions and millions of people. Again, everyone knows deep down, but there will always be scammers, and there will always be those who are vulnerable, and there will always be the new opportunistic grift, whether it's crypto or FTX or MLM and whatever.
Yeah. And, and I saw that your interview with Pocket Watching with JT, and it was like, I really liked that your point is, yes, these scams can exist, but there has been no education on scams. Like, that shit should be taught in schools, right up there with like red flags of like coercive control. There's one university that is awarding, or like that teaches about coercive control right now. And that Chris Shelton, that former Scientologist, he got his Master of Science in that. And there's been like a few other people studying this, that they've got, that's the only place. And it's, UK is also the first place, like the first country that have passed legislation under, I think it's domestic abuse, with this coercive control. So anyway, I just had to fucking say that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's going to be a point where my content is no longer scalable because everyone in the industry just knows who I am. And also it'll just become too risky for me to make more like infiltration videos because of lawsuits or violence or whatever. And I really want to get into schools and get to the kids before the MLMs get to them, because the MLMs have been known to prop up booths. It's the same as any type of convention where they pay a sponsorship fee so they can have a booth at like some high school career day. And how do you think that's going when all the other booths are being honest and transparent and saying, hey, our average salary is 60, 65K. And then MLM, the kid at the booth, it's not being recorded. And the guy at the booth, and I know for a fact that this happens from people's experiences reaching out to me, the guy at the, Cutco or World Financial Group, hypothetically, of course, booth is going, well, my upline has a Lamborghini. And of course, it's just.
And
Cutco
you have teachers.
Sorry. I was just going to say that Cutco is a fixture at my local Costco. They're in there. People don't know. But yeah, go ahead.
And teachers, a lot of teachers are in MLMs, and they don't know. They don't know what they're part of. They think that if, they're working hard, it's a side hustle. So then they're kind of teaching that to kids. It's so fucked up. It's like that, learning about MLMs, learning like 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, which most MLMs use some iteration of that model, just a portion of it. But then they'll say, you'll see people that are, defending this as a business. They'll say, well, you can't use math. to prove that, like Dale Calvert. It was like,
oh yeah,
every MLM is using that to show like how to recruit people. But like learning that in schools would go a long way just to help people avoid getting sucked into other scams and to help people critically think, because there is no critical thinking going on. It's just people are so easily manipulated. Their altruism is being exploited. And the other thing that should be taught in schools is how to turn off the toilet when you overflow it. Nobody fucking taught me that. And it's so easy. If you're watching this and you don't know, if you just go like behind the toilet, there's a little faucet thingy on the hose. Just turn it like just righty tighty, just like counterclockwise, just a quarter of a turn, and it stops. I had to say that because that's really important. Yeah. A lot of people that don't know that.
I mean, Robert has talked about in the interview I did with him. He talks about his experience with CBC Marketplace, where they did a hidden camera investigation back in the day, long before I did it. Where Robert says in the presentation, he pulls out a calculator and he says, I calculated this 8x8 matrix that you are talking about here, and within only 10 cycles, you exceed the population of the Earth. And what does the guy say? Guys, there are those of us who believe in ourselves and we're going to make things happen. And there are those of us who try to be doubters and need calculators. And he turns the room against them because of this, appeal to authority fallacy, where unfortunately people's psychology is so malleable that just the presence of a guy at the front of the room with a suit on holding a microphone is enough to get them to believe that this is the authority figure. And I think that is most evidenced in the Milgram experiment, which if you guys don't know about the Milgram experiment, you can search that up. But it basically seeks to explore what lengths will a person go to in terms of administering pain to another human if a guy in a white lab coat holding a clipboard tells them to. And of course, in the experiment, they find out that most people actually go beyond administering a lethal level electrical shock to the subject because they were told to continue the experiment by a person in a white overcoat and a clipboard. Sort of an aside there. But and in my first World Financial Group video, I do this on camera. I call out the guy at the front and I say, if you get 5 people and they get 5, that's now 25. And if those 25 get 5, it's 125. And within 5 cycles, you have 3,125. So it's not mathematically feasible. And what does he say? Buddy, if you have 3,000 people, you're going to be making a lot of money. And it's like, yeah, but I'm not going to, because that's nonsense. So they'll always find a way to sort of get you to look down on you or shame you when you try to use math. It's very ironic because, they love to say the little party trick, magic trick, where they go, would you rather have $1 million right now or a penny doubled every day for 30 days? And everyone goes, $1 million. And then they go, well, actually, because of the power of compound interest, the penny is actually worth more. And everyone's like, oh, this guy's sick. He knows what he's talking about. But when it comes to you using that exact same concept to the, applying it to the endless chain of 8 get 8 get 8 get 8 or 5 get 5, they're the blind guy emoji. They don't.
It's true. I remember I had people telling me this when I was in, and I did. It was like a brick wall, and I thought, I really thought, I'm like, that is just, there is a possibility for me to do it, and I am one of those people that can get there. That's all I thought. It's the weirdest thing. This is why it's a cult, because logic doesn't get through. There's a reason, they say those thought terminating cliches, those thought stopping cliches. It's like one of the ones, I just thought of this today. It came up as I was out for a walk. It was like, you get to keep what you speak. So if you're saying like, you can't do it, well, you get to keep that. You argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. It fucks with your mind so much.
Take massive action.
Take massive action, impact more people.
Another way that they try to evade this criticism of, the 5x5, they have an answer for that too, which is that, oh, well, if people do actually do the math, we have a way of re-explaining that too. And what do? Well, they just change the structure of it and they change the name. So now instead of it being a 5x5, they'll do a 2x2 and they'll call it's a binary plan. And they'll go, we're not like those other MLMs where you got to recruit 100 people. Here, you just got to get 2 people. but then those two got to get 2 and those got to get 2. So whether you do the math by like 2x2, x2, x2, or 5x5, or in my favorite, the uni level plan, where guys, it's not a pyramid scheme because it only goes 1 layer deep. Okay. But how wide can it go? Well, you can have 100 people. It can be as long as you want wide. Okay. And then what do those 100 people who are lined up like this do? Well, they each recruit. Okay. So it's just a 1 by 10. So it's the same fucking thing. It's just they draw it a different way, and it's all still an endless chain. But again, if you keep bringing up explanation or objection after objection, unfortunately, too many people just shut off their brain and go, all right, let's give it a try. Fuck it. I'm struggling.
Yeah. And then like when you're coming out of this, so many people still don't know what they've been part of. They think that there's something wrong with them. They just don't want to talk about it. Some people are, more and more people are starting to search out anti-MLM content. But a lot of people that have been in for years, like I was in 5 years, Jen, my coach, she was in for 8 years. A lot of people, they don't even think to seek therapy. And they think that if you do, like, it's really not that bad. It's really not a cult. It's not a real cult, not like those other cults out there. And we're also so used to just getting things done ourselves. We'll just research shit. We'll go like the long way around instead of just asking for help because we were shamed to ask for help when we were in. And that shit carries forward. So I want to just say this too, if you're watching this and you are starting to exit your MLM, you're starting to really ask questions and you're thinking, is it really that big of a deal to get therapy? My biggest piece of advice, I wish I had have got therapy right away when I got out. I made a huge mistake. I thought I could handle it. I thought with all the self-education I was doing, I'm like making all this content. I'm like healing. I'm speaking with people. I connected with other anti-MLM creators. It was not anywhere near enough. I'm so fucking glad I got it. I wish I had got it sooner. So I encourage you, if you have the resources and you can, please do.
Yeah, I'm an advocate for that too, for former MLM or cult participants, is like your mind has been professionally tampered with and scrambled, and you need professional help to unscramble it. It's just, that is logical to me. And in your case, Julie, you were spending a lot of money to have Ray Higdon, like it's as an added layer of mind fuckery. Ray Higdon's such a douchebag, it kills me. I mean, I want to talk about something you said before, which is like the blame. One of the first things you'll hear in MLM is like, the system works. We have a proven system. Look at all the people who have done it. It works. You need to believe in yourself. So now already one of the first things I've heard is how it works, and I just need to believe in myself. So if I fail, when the scam works exactly as it was designed to, what happened? Well, either I didn't follow the plan, or I didn't believe in myself, or both. So whose fault is it? It's my fault. And this mitigates any retribution that might, come back at the person who says the thing. And one of the most disgusting things that I've seen Ray Higdon do is he, makes these mocking videos about anti-MLM creators where he goes, I was scammed. I was in a cult. And then he has this hypothetical convo with himself where he's like, so you paid money willingly and then now you're unhappy with it. So he tries to posit this idea that like, well, you made the choice, like you consented. So how are you now saying it's a scam? It's because you failed. Now you want to shift blame and say, boo-hoo, I got scammed. Well, you made the decision. But Dominic Izzo did the same thing in this debate I did with him, by the way, where he goes, he makes this really shoddy analogy about going to a strip club and the stripper telling him that she's in love with him. And is it my fault for believing her? Or is it her fault for scamming me? Well, what you're saying there is that I consented, and so it's my fault for listening to what you promised me. So it's my fault for trusting what you said, which is why it's a scam, because you told me I'm going to get A. I didn't get A. So obviously now I'm understandably upset and feel that I was deceived. And then they'll go, well, you consented. Yeah, I consented to what you offered me, which is not what I received. Well, you didn't believe, and you didn't believe in yourself, and you didn't follow the plan. So it's just such a fucking snake eating its own tail of nonsense.
It is. And it's like I see with Ray and also Dominic Izzo and everybody else that use it, they always have to use this ham-fisted shock value. It's so fucking predictable. Ray is so predictable. He's like, he puts on his fucking wig. It's like purple and pink. And then he makes his, like, he contorts his face. And then he talks about Nazi concentration camps every fucking time. It's like, you can just, oh, it's like, oh, here we go again, you know? And he really thinks he's doing something. But I see it now, like after like having more time out and like, and then speaking out against him and pointing out exactly what he's doing, is that they use, this is where it's like you tie in like the baby with the bathwater. So my background was with triathlon. And this, I came across a blog post the other day and it was like, oh, fuck, this is why there is like the baby that exists before it gets in the bathwater of the cult. And it was written by this triathlon coach talking about you need to follow a system and you need to be coachable because these things are elements of truth, but it's not in a destructive cult format. So then when I got into like Mon 8 and then fucking rank makers, and Ray is like, you got to be coachable. Coachable is not to be confused with blind obedience and compliance. And that's when they tell you, well, nobody held a gun to your head. That again, especially now as I'm learning more about victim advocate, that's bullshit. That's controlling, that's predatory, that's abuse. It's like, they have not heard the definition of coercive control, which is well known. It might not have been like as like mainstreamed yet, but people are becoming more aware of it. That is not an excuse. You could leave at any time. No, you can't leave at any time because thought reform techniques are well documented, as well as traumatic bonding. This is why you have like abusive relationships where one individual can't leave. This is fucking well documented. So there's like something about like learning that and then seeing it play out now as more and more time goes by, when I see somebody like, you know, Dominic Izzo or Ray Higdon be like, well, you know, use this shock. Oh, a stripper. Oh, you know, whatever. Oh, a Nazi concentration camp. Well, you want your money back? Oh, all you did this personal development? No, you're making people feel bad about themselves. You're putting all the blame on them. And true effective coaching means you're collaborating with someone. It doesn't mean you are, like you said, above or have no retribution. You are above reproach. So anything you say is okay because what, you've made more money, or you were at the number, right. You were, you know, in personal foreclosure, sleeping on your buddy's couch and $1 million in debt until you became the #1 network marketing company. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. People see through this shit now.
Yeah, this is the idea. What you're talking about is the idea. I describe this as wrapping up lies in the truth. So, you know, with you in your athletic background, you know, following a system, staying consistent, you know, showing up every day. These are truths that are used to package the lie, which is that applying those principles to MLM is going to lead to success. It is true that consistency and belief and a system and a plan are helpful to achieving your goals in most things, but they have now plopped in MLM, which is a scam, in place of that. And it's very convincing, you know, even in, I think in the 12 steps recovery program, isn't the second step giving yourself over to a higher power? So that's sort of a deferment that they use in MLM as well. It's like, follow me, follow me. And
this leaves clues.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, you reminded me, too, when you were talking about the extreme examples that Ray and Dominic Izzo gave. Scott Johnson had one a long time ago where he did this interview with Savvy where he talks about how his experience losing money in Amway was comparable to women who have been R-worded. And he thinks that it's a sound analogy, which I think is dark, hilarious in a dark way, you know?
It is. It's so predictable. This is the thing. And it's like, I think a lot of that, it's just they're so used to getting that reaction. I know for me and a lot of people that were in rank makers, and a lot of people, I'm like rank makers, and a lot of people who are in like MLM, we're so fucking desensitized to it. It's like, I just don't give a shit. And it's not really good, but it helps me when I'm starting to, you know, speak out and like really, I'm like talking with people. It's like, this is incorrect. This is not okay. This is acting like a thought stopping cliche where they just drop this. Like Ray during, when Jen confronted him during the last 100K Inner Circle meeting, which is on the Dream podcast.
Yep.
he keeps using the word hate and he keeps interrupting her. And that is enough for people to be like, oh, I don't want to be perceived as a hater. That's why people in network marketing or multi-level marketing, whatever they want to call it, will always say haters, because to them, that's the ultimate thing. It's like we're terrified of being called that. I kind of went off on a tangent.
No.
Right.
I mean, I've been tangential this whole time. Dave makes a very good comment, which is like they seek the shock value at conventions. They search for the most severe sob story and amplify it, so everyone has a deeper belief that they can do it. Absolutely, you'll hear the most extreme stories, and I've heard MLM leaders say before, whoever tells the story the best wins. Meaning, what that means to me is that whoever hams it up in a sob story the most, I was born on a dirt floor in Mexico, and now I have a Lamborghini and the life I've always wanted, and I wake up without an alarm clock. So the person who just joined, who didn't have that sort of traumatic background, they think, oh, well, there's no excuse for me to do it then. If they can do it, I can do it. I don't know why I thought of this, but there was another thing that I find so funny, which I've been, as my channel grows, I get this rebuttal more and more, that I am just doing this to line my pockets.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that's so stupid. Yeah,
I
that's
love it.
So dumb. Yeah.
Because it suggests that I am my voice is invalid because I make money. Well, then you could say that about any teacher. Teachers make money. Are they just doing it for money? Are they scamming you because they're paid for their time or what they do? It's completely nonsense. Every author, every documentary filmmaker, every, did I say doctors? Did you know doctors get paid for what they do? Are they just scamming? It's complete nonsense. And then, of course, you could flip it and say, well, so your upline also makes money. So is making money the determining factor of if someone's scamming or not? And again, if I wasn't making any money off of it, they would say, find something better to do.
Exactly.
You're not even getting any money. So
yeah, you've got two creators here that are totally opposite, and we are the same thing. Because I don't make any money, you make money. It doesn't matter. You can't fucking win.
No, you can't win. Well,
I mean, it's always going to be something. It's like, oh, I hope it was Ray was like, I hope she finds purpose in her life after I'm also an uncoachable demon, vibrating at a low frequency.
I think, I'm proud to make money doing what I do. I've never been more proud of, I'm certainly more proud of making money doing this than I was of getting a handsome salary working at the casino when I was 21, where people are gambling and, losing money. I'm much happier to make a living helping people to not lose money. Exactly. And I don't remember the name of this term. There's a term called like effective altruism or altruistic capitalism or something like that. This idea where you try to make as much money as possible so you can do as much good as possible. That's what I'm about. I make no qualms about it. I absolutely aspire to make as much money as possible doing what I do, because firstly, me making more money is directly correlated to how much help, how much good I'm putting out into the world. It's not like I'm charging.
That is exactly, Ray has said that exactly.
No, I know, but again,
it's so weird though, right? Like it's so
again,
he's wrapping
he's wrapping up a lie in the truth.
He's wrapping up a lie. Yeah.
In many cases, the more money you make equals the more needs you are meeting. But Ray is making more money, or people like Ray are making more money because of the supposed good they are doing that actually turns out to be a lie. They're making more money off let me say it like this. Ray is making increased money as a correlation to how much good he is promising, not how much good he is doing. So again, it's this one little tweak that would allow him to go, I'm doing the same thing as you. I'm making more money. Yes. I'm providing more value. No. You're making more money because you're promising more value. I'm making more money because I'm actually providing more value. So very tricky.
That's a good distinction. That helps, because something that that it's a struggle for me is that like there's these concepts where it's like it's said the same. Like, and I heard this for so many years and I know it's fucked up, but it's like I'm still working through it. So I think that is going to really help people with that distinction that you made, where it's like the promise of it versus the delivery, because we're always talking about value, always over delivering, always showing up with so much value. But so that's good. And I just want to go like say this too. I support every creator who is making money. with whatever content they make. I absolutely support you. Do whatever you want, you know, whatever you want to do, you do. Like so I want to just say it too.
Yeah.
I just choose not to because I have a lot of reasons about that, but that's my own personal stuff. So whatever you choose to do, like, good on you. And I support all anti-MLM creators.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. And I mean, it is tricky because they're going to continue to use this, but I would hope that the people who are brainwashed look towards my endeavors doing this as what it is, which is true entrepreneurship. Exactly. And not pseudo entrepreneurship. You know, it's like they call me a broke, a miserable hater, but the ultimate irony is that I actually am what they claim to be, and I'm not claiming any of it. I actually am a self-employed entrepreneur with time freedom who can wake up without an alarm clock. I would think that this is something that they would be like, happy about. But of course
they will. Eventually they will. Like, because I remember when I started waking up and I came across your content, I was like, people start seeing it. It just takes them time. It's not a light switch. It takes a long, it took us, well, my couple of friends like Jen and then Michelle Culberson, the reality show winner of season 1. It was like at 1.5 to 2 years it took us, like, we were talking amongst ourselves, like, of our process of waking up. But people will. But I think it's when they criticize creators that are making money, it's just another way of saying you're a hater. Everything that you have to do, like, it has to be bad. It has to be wrong.
Yeah.
It's misplaced. It's so stupid. It's like you're supposed to feel bad about it. It's like, no, I'm like, good for you. Fucking go for it.
They say hate never comes from above. Hate never comes from above. So they must be, there must be something there. Or like Ray, where he tries to proselytize and like condescend by being like, I hope Julie finds purpose in her life. Like, I hope she finds something better to do. It's like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And while you're at it, like, pay me for my TikTok training. Like, who in their fucking, I am not gonna fucking end this, because this has been like shuffled, underneath the carpet. And it's like, who in their fucking right mind would ask someone to do a training and then take that training and sell it and make money and not give the other person money? I don't give a fuck who you are. Ethically, that is wrong. And he says like this shit, I haven't paid anybody in 18 years. Well, if I'm the only person in fucking 18 years, well, it's time to wake up, because that is unethical behavior. Somebody works for you, you give you something. I would never think of just taking it and then like selling it. Be like, oh yeah, I made all this money. Oh, I'm not paying you anything. Who the fuck does that? Fucking Ray does.
I mean, these people take advantage of a very universal commonality, which is that generally people are trusting. Generally, people believe what their fellow person says. Generally, I mean, maybe you live in New York, people are paranoid and tell you to go fuck yourself and, walking by on the street. But generally, if you ask someone for help, if you ask someone for a favor, they will grant it to you. And this is exactly the cover that people in MLMs use as part of their invitations. I have a really big favor. I'm presenting at my new company on a Zoom call. Would you do me a favor and be there just to support me? And then at the end, what did you think about it? Which leads to then, so when are you going to sign up? My best friend, I mean, this is so burned into my memory now. And this is really my, Spider-Man origin story of getting bit by the spider. Being at that World Financial Group meeting and my best friend, who I thought I knew, approaching me. And I realize now in hindsight that I was speaking to the cult self. I was not speaking to the authentic self, coming up to me and with this demonic look in his eye. So when are you going to sign up? Yeah. It's like, it gives me the heebie-jeebies even thinking about it in hindsight, because it's like, whoa, like, who are you? I don't know this person. And of course, I've read this. I've read Combating Cult Mind Control. I've read Ponzinomics, and I've also been doing this now for a few years. And so I truly do understand what happened there. But I was invited to check it out and support my friend. And it ended up being this extreme high pressure sales tactic where I'm outnumbered by a bunch of people in suits calling themselves agents. You know, he's there with another guy ready to write down my information. Oh, you're not going to sign up today? Okay, well, do you know somebody? It's like, holy fuck. And me, I'm a pretty resilient person. I'm a pretty no nonsense person. You know, I'm not afraid to say no. I don't really cajole people like that. But for most people who are just like, just out of sheer politeness, you know, get caught up in it. And so,
and it's a tactic. And that's what what people don't realize is when you're invited to, like, let's just say there was a company called fucking Primerica. This is me talking, nobody else. And they invite you to go, you know, see, oh, come to this Zoom call. I just want to, I have to practice. My mentor wants me to practice on people. This is recruiting. This is a lie. It's deceptive. We're all taught that, even in fucking Mon 8. It doesn't matter what, it's not just with an insurance MLM. It doesn't matter what MLM. So if you ever hear somebody like that, your friend or family member or coworker that says, I just want to practice on you. No, they're deceiving you. They're going to try to recruit you. They're not practicing on you at all, because we're taught to go to our friends and family first, our warm market, our hot market. And this is another thing I wanted to just say on when that other comment that you had talked about, Dave, saying you see the shock value at conventions as well. They search for the most severe sob story and amplify it and make it so everyone else has a deeper belief they themselves can do it. This is something that really fucks a lot of people up too. And I don't know, it's important to talk about this, is that we're not aware of when we're doing this. You know, it's obvious when you see it. It's almost like people are trying to one up each other, but we're just thinking we need to dig deeper. We need to really connect with it. That's how we feel. It's so fucked up. I was doing this. I did this during a number of live videos. I shared shit I should never have shared, like abuse shit. Like, fuck, it was so fucking horrible. This is why when I decided to start speaking out, I'm like, I have done so much damage to my reputation. I have fucking nothing to lose. So it's game on. Like, let's go, you know? And when people are starting to like share these stories on, and they're coached, so they're coached to like Ray in Rank Makers would coach people to condense your timeline. It's just lying. So you could just pull out any horrible example and like stitch it together. And before my life was horrible. I was like, you know, anything, you know, homeless, drug addict, whatever. And then, you know, I found this company, then I found his coaching, and now look at me, I'm on his stage. Now look at me, I'm this like 6-figure income earner. So, you know, if you're looking at it, you might not know that there's all this background indoctrination that's going on, that you really start to think that way, that this is the only way that you can talk about your experiences. And that if you're not, you're doing a disservice to people. That's what we're told too. Yeah. And I want to say too, there was people in Rank Makers that Ray had taught to do this. Their stories were exploited, and it was absolutely disgusting. He'll use anything, sexual abuse, anything, just to promote him. And you'll still see people. Actually, I came across a Rank Maker today that left a post on her Facebook feed. This is so stupid. This just shows the extent. She's like, I'd like to thank my mentor, Ray Higdon, for teaching me never to say no. She says this stupid story. This isn't like a trigger warning.
Oh, no.
My passport photo was, I didn't get my passport in. My family and me, we want to go to like London, and we can't go to London because I didn't get my passport in. So I phoned my congressperson in, and they got on the phone, and they got my passport in. Thank God for Ray Higdon. That's what her fucking post was. This has nothing to do with them. But this is how deep when we're in, like, just this particular like niche of a niche of a niche, like MLM, and then this fucking weird coaching thing. It's like we give all credit to him. So she has been like, she was in the reality show. She's one of the contestants that was in the reality show. She's still fucking deep. She's an NLP practitioner now, trying to recruit people. Didn't like Ray after a while, but now she's like fawning over him. But this is like, you can see when people are doing this, I'm like, oh my God, they're still in, and I want them to get out, but they're hurting so many people. It's so fucked up. It's like, I don't even know where to go with this sometimes. So I wanted to just add that to Dave's comment.
Tell me more about this condensing your timeline thing.
Sure. Amy Murphy from Monate. So she is a senior executive director, or was top of the pyramid. And she was also in Rank Makers. And Ray would teach, he would say, our friend Amy, for example. So she had started in multi-level marketing. Maybe, I don't know, maybe she was 18. Maybe she bought some makeup from Avon. We don't really know. But he'd say, well, you technically then you were in multi-level marketing for 20 years. She wasn't really in multi-level.
I see what you mean. So just sort of
a product here.
Yeah.
Maybe she bought some unique makeup there. Maybe she tried to sell it, but he's like, just condense the timeline. So you were in for 20 years, and how much money did you make during that time? Well, who the fuck knows? Because maybe she bought something when she was 18 and then didn't purchase again until she was 25. Oh, just pick a number. I was like, maybe I lost $3,000 or something. And so he said, so he's big on this kind of thing. She was in multi-level marketing, for 20 years, and she lost $3,000, and now she's $1 million income earner. Aren't you glad? Like, do you think she's like happy that she kept going? He coached us that. He would talk about, it's probably like there's videos out there, not only in Rank Makers, but all over the place, because he says the same fucking stories over and over again.
Condense your time lies.
Yeah, condense your timeline is just lies.
No, yeah, time lies. The thing you mentioned about digging deeper, I want to give you guys a little sneak peek of what happened. One part of my interview with Steve Hassan. In it, he talks about an experience he had with someone who was in a religious cult, and how they were so devoted to it because the cult had shown them God, and nobody could take that from them. They had this profound religious epiphany that really revealed God to them. And Steve recalls doing this exercise with them where he tells them, all right, I want you to close your eyes. You're going to go deeper than you've ever gone before, and I'm going to show you the real God. And I want you to close your eyes and just, as long as it takes, sink deeper and deeper. You're going to dig deeper and go deeper and feel deeper than you've ever gone before. And when you feel the light, when you feel God, open your eyes. And they went, and then they go, okay, yeah, I'm in a cult. It's like this thing. It's like, again, I've talked about this sort of before, where it's like what they're really selling is an unlimited commodity, which is really genius, which is your own self-improvement. There's always deeper to dig. There's always more mindset to be improved upon. There's always more higher to strive. There's always limiting beliefs that need to be overcome. So it's just a continual, it really destroys people, because it's a never-ending rabbit hole where it's like, okay, I've dug deeper and I failed in the last one, but now I'm at the right point in my life and the right time in history with the right company, with the right mentor, with the right team. And this time I'm going to go within myself and dig even deeper to overcome those limiting beliefs. And then when they fail again, well, now this time it's called the sunk cost fallacy. And I feel like all of my life experiences, even though I'm still young, have really shaped me for what I do now. Because when I worked at the casino, I was a slot host, which means that my job was to basically comp or give for free things that the high rolling players that played slots wanted: free cigarettes, drinks, meals, vouchers, whatever it was. And I was trained to identify problem gamblers and people who were trapped in a sunk cost fallacy loop. And basically what this is, I know you know this, Julie, but basically for people who might not know, what this is that a gambler who's maybe, let's say, lost $1,000 that day and they can't afford it, and now they've just, gambled the money that was supposed to be for the rent or the electricity or the baby's diapers, they'll continue to play because they think, well, statistically, maybe the next spin on the machine is the one that wins it all back and then some. When, of course, the reality of the situation is that the sooner you cut your losses and leave the casino, the better off you will be, and the sooner you will begin to recuperate and get your money back and stop bleeding. And this happens in MLM too. They think it's a matter of digging deeper and continuing. And each time they fail in one company, this is why you see people go in, they don't just join one company and then leave. They continue in multiple companies because they felt last time, I've already spent so much time on it. I can't give up now. This one is the one that's going to do it for me. And this is sort of a personal anecdote, but I've looking back through my life, my World Financial Group experience with my best friend in high school was actually not my first MLM proposition. My dad's best friend for a long time was married to a woman who I have found out that she was serially involved in multi-level marketing for the past maybe 20 or more years. And when I was about 17 or 18, she, her and my dad, my dad actually, at the request of her, brought me next door. I was working as the receptionist basically at my dad's hair salon, answering the phone and booking appointments. And we went next door to Starbucks, of course. And she presented me with the compensation plan for Lioness, which is an MLM that was famously on the show Dragon's Den, the Canadian version of Shark Tank. And it was just torn apart for being a pyramid scheme, unfortunately. And she's explaining the compensation plan to me. And even then, before I knew what multi-level marketing was, I was just asking very simple questions like, okay, so I get 3 people, and then how do they get their money? And then she couldn't even fucking explain it. And, her husband is a gentleman who's in the medical field. And I talked to him a couple of years ago when I told him what I did. And he told me, yeah, me and my wife, we actually got divorced because she was just burning through the fucking money. She wasn't present. I had to not only work, but also was, the mom and dad for our son. And now, I feel so bad. I a couple months ago went and looked at this woman's Facebook, and I just sort of scrolled back and went down the rabbit hole. And like, I've seen this woman living in shelters, sleeping on people's couches, like dealing with suicide attempts, and like still posting about how she needs to overcome her limiting beliefs. And she has lost everything. And her husband, or now her ex-husband, God bless him, he's been able to move on and get remarried and have a new baby. And, that's great for him. But he's a victim in this. Their son is a victim in this. And I've just seen this, like, I knew this woman from when I was a little kid, and I never imagined that there was someone in such close proximity to my own social circle, or, this is a friend of my dad, his wife. Just so, and then I dig back through my memory even further to when I was in like early high school, junior high, and seeing bottles of Vima Verve in my garage, and finding out years later that it was this woman who sold them to my dad, and he bought them as a favor to his friend's wife. And we had Vima in the garage, and nobody ever drank it. It just sat there. So she was in Vima, she was in Lioness, she was in, and I think back, I never noticed that at the time, but now looking back, it's like, wow, this woman is, in my experience, one of, if not the most extreme case of a serially manipulated and victimized person of MLM. And it's, honestly, every person I talk to, unless if they haven't had an experience, they know someone who's had an experience. I was at my cousin's wedding last weekend, and I was talking to an older cousin. He's probably about 50 years old. And I was telling him about what I do, and he said, that reminds me, probably 20 years ago, an old friend invited me for lunch, and I hadn't seen him in a long time. And when I got there, there was another guy with him, and it was this business pitch. And I thought, I'm not surprised, and I am surprised, because there's some point where I just wish eventually I'll wake up from the nightmare, and I'll realize that actually it's not as all encompassing as I think it is. And it is, and it's worse than it is, and it's worse than I think it is. And so I'm sorry for the long rant, but
no, this is good. It's not a rant. It's really good. And this is a really important discussion to have. I know it is all encompassing. And I know for me, it's felt like I've been a trap door has opened, and I was falling through space, and I thought I landed on the ground. That was when I woke up. But then I'm like, holy fuck, no. 4 months later, it was like the trap door opened again. I couldn't even get through Ponzi-nomics. It took me a while. I couldn't wrap my brain around it. It was making me sick to my stomach too. I'm like, how deep does this shit go? Never mind when then Robert Fitzpatrick, on the Instagram, Ponzi-nomics 101 with that podcast saying like call to action, or like whatever for anti-MLM, like talking about, it's not an industry, it's not a business model. And here I had been like saying, oh, I've been part of the multi-level marketing industry. I'm like, holy fuck, like the language I'm using is bolstering the legitimacy of it. Even when I'm out and I'm trying to speak out and it's like the trap door opens again, I'm like falling. I'm like, when the fuck is this going to end? I thought like, this is important to talk about. It really is that bad. It really is all that encompassing. And when you were talking about the personal development, how it's, it's never ending, the limiting beliefs. I think it's Stephen Hassan that talked about this, because this is the first time I came across this language of him describing it, like their internal agency and external agency. Yeah, it's okay to get help or mentorship or coaching. But when we start, like, we give our internal locus of control externally, that's the slippery slope. And it's like a fucking hair breadth away, just for personal development, because you will always think that you need to have another transformation. And with MLM, it's all about breakthrough and transformation. Everyone says it. I did too. And yet, if you were to ask me what exactly I learned, what I had another transformation, another breakthrough at this amazing event. What did you have a breakthrough? All it was emotional manipulation. You're in social psychology. You're in this big event. They have these, you're with all these friends, people that you might not have met before, but you're in this fucking virtual cult. And then you meet each other in person. It's like fucking amazing. And you really do believe you've had these breakthroughs, and it's just not. But don't worry, because as soon as you get back, a lot of people, they don't take action right away. They go to these events and they learn all this stuff, but they don't take action. But fortunately for you, we have an implementation video for you to watch, which is another video that you can plug into. Holy fuck, it just keeps going on.
Do you still have your notebooks of very important information that you wrote down back in those times? And
you know what? I threw them all out. I wish I had kept them. Yeah. However, I did get sent a number of notebooks from another rank maker who did keep all of their notes, and I have those. So that's where I got, I have Reyes fucking time, money, freedom. So in different videos, like I'll take it like a page out now and then.
Love that.
Yeah, just do that. All right.
Yeah, I think if you were to go back and look at your old notebooks, if you had them, you would go like, you would just like sort of shake your head at and be like, yeah, this is obvious. Like, I knew this, like, believe in yourself. Like
all of it. I have the videos. I have the live videos that I look back on, and that's horrible. I'll see myself talking about these things. I'm like, some of it doesn't even make any sense. It's word salad, but I'm talking like I understand it. And that's another thing I wanted to touch on too, is that I keep saying this, and I don't know if I'm just fucking processing this and like understanding it in my body. And I don't know if you even understand what I mean when I say that, but when I was coming out of multi-level marketing, like I watched your interview with Robert Fitzpatrick twice. And it's like, a lot of us, we know that it's wrong, but we don't fully understand why it's a pyramid scheme. We're not going to go back in. We're not going to be in multi-level marketing. And it's like, the only way I can describe it is like, I know it here, but I don't know it in my body. And there's got to be some weird cult bullshit that happens with your emotions or something for that to happen. But that's what it's felt like for me. What the fuck was I going to go on about here? I was going to say something, and I lost my train of thought. It's gone. It's okay.
It's okay. Maybe it'll come back. But yeah, I think that makes sense about you feeling it in your body. There's a book by Gabor Mate called When the Body Says No, or Body Keeps the Score. He has another book. And it talks about how like people with unresolved traumas, childhood trauma or otherwise, are at X, multiple, like more likelihood of getting a debilitating disease like cancer or MS. And this is scientifically backed. It's true. And so I think it's only natural that when your mind has been so tampered with, that you're going to feel some like disparity between your mind and your body. Do you know what I mean? Because you've been you've been reeling off adrenaline and fake optimism and cheeriness and jolliness and joyfulness for so long that now it's almost like people talk about frying your dopamine receptors. And you have to like scale back in order to resensitize yourself. Well, when you're having a breakthrough every other weekend or every day, it only would make sense that after that period of time, there's going to be some adjustment. So again, I'm not choosing the right words for this, and I'm obviously not a
No, you
medical
are.
professional
Actually, it is. And it helped me. I just remembered what I was going to say is that when I look back at different trainings, like from Ray, I'm seeing a completely different reality than what I saw when I was in there. And that's what I'm like, that's the next thing that I'm like really reconciling is that because you hear people, it's like, I can't believe I didn't see that. But I really didn't see it. Like when I'm taking these notes and I'm looking at this training, I look at it now and it's horrible. Like he goes on, he is abusive. It is unbelievable. He's not even saying anything. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how in the fuck? Like, but I remember being in it when I'm like, how in the fuck did I not see it? I remember at the same time I'm feeling this now. I remember being glued, taking notes and making my own live videos about it, adding groups. And I would transcribe his videos. That's how enthralled I was. I would stop it. I was training on my bike at the time. I'd just be fucking biking for hours. And I'd like have my notebook and I would fucking write it down. And then I'd like type it in a special Facebook group, all his videos. And I remember thinking it was amazing training. So I'm holding both of these two feelings and minds in at once. And it's fucking weird.
Yeah, that's that cognitive dissonance that they talk about. I mean, yeah, it's language is the key, right? Language is the key. There's a saying, obviously there's that saying, the pen is mightier than the sword, but there's something about, I forget who said this, so somebody remind me, but the saying is something like, take away all my rights, but leave me freedom of speech, and with it, I will win back all the others. And I forget who said that, but that's a bar. That's big bars. And with Ray or people like that, I mean, basically every person you could point to in MLM, I'm not brainwashing you. We're training. We're not brainwashing. We're washing your brain. We're not re-traumatizing you. We're holding you accountable. We're not being mean. And insert whatever else. And when you watch videos of Ray in the Zoom meetings, like the one with Jen, where he's saying, if you hate it so much and you hate this, he's just flat out being mean.
Yeah.
I don't have any fancy words for that. He's just being a dick. Yeah. And, it's amazing how that goes. I also wanted to say something, Dave's comment here, even the term commercial cult uses an adjective, which would be commercial, that links it to commerce, which is the fair exchange of product. And you know what? I've acknowledged this before, but I made a grave mistake in my MLM conference speech where I said, this industry needs tighter regulation. This is not an industry because there is nothing industrious going on. They don't invent anything. They don't improve upon anything that already exists. They are not using some method of distribution that is in any way forward thinking or futuristic. If anything, they are employing an extinct, archaic business model that doesn't exist anymore. And that's if you take them at their word that what they are doing is direct selling. So, the mistake I made in the speech was saying that this industry needs tighter regulation. It's not an industry and it doesn't need regulation. It is a scam and it needs to die. And so if I am invited back to speak next year, I don't even know why the fuck I said it that way. I know that other people at the conference were beholden to some educational institution or law, something where they had to be careful about their words, but I don't. I'm a fucking YouTuber. I can speak freely and say whatever the fuck I want. So I will definitely make a correction next time around and double down on my request to have the FTC simply name one MLM company that operates as a legitimate MLM, whether present day or historically. What MLM have you looked into that turned out to actually operate the way you describe on your website that a legitimate MLM would? The best I've gotten from y'all is saying things like Edith Ramirez said, they were not determined not to have been a pyramid. You guys are a fucking joke.
Agree. Over 99% loss rate, which is virtually 100% due to like the churn rate every year that's not factored into these like income disclosure statements. But in any other example with anything, if they were manufacturing cars, if they were doing like airplanes, over 99% failure rate, which, I mean, come on.
Robert talks about this in the book, when it's a 99% failure rate, it's actually a 100% success rate. Because you can't say that 99% of people failed. You can say that it worked 100% exactly as it was designed to. So even this failure rate is even a mischaracterization. This is what I mean. Literally everything you talk about when it pertains to MLM needs to be clarified and redefined and properly, you know, have the proper labels added to it because they're not there presently.
Yes. And this is such a good conversation, because coming out of this and people wanting to speak out and wanting to add their voices to it only have the language of MLM. And that's why it's like having this.
It's a trap.
It's so hard to be like, well, how do I describe it? Even the MLM, like that, the conference that you were at, it was like this fucking weird MLM consumer protection. Like, what the fuck? It's too fucking much. Like, is it anti-MLM? It's like, yes, we know it's not anti-MLM, but to get there, like when you leave one of these things and there's millions of people that are affected by this, they're falling through the trap door. It's like, what the fuck do I call it? Like,
yeah, it makes us look indecisive. It makes us look unclear on what it is. I know the truth. I know exactly what it is.
Yeah. And it takes time for people to get there. So, and I'm still parsing my words. I'm trying to get the language right, because the last thing I want to do is prop up this scam, these frauds.
You understand what this monster is better than most, I think.
Well, that self-education and therapy goes a long way.
Yeah. I have to go pee. So
okay, I'll go pee too, and then we can watch this video. I'll play some music here.
Or you just keep talking about whatever you want.
No, I really have to go pee too.
Okay. Play an ad, plug something, go, you know.
Go like Marco, go subscribe to Marco's channel.
Go take massive action.
Go take massive action. Reach out to, go prospect 200 people today if you haven't. Go listen to this. Great. I'm going to read some of your comments here. Just having a pee break, and then we'll probably get to this video. Thanks for hanging out and with this. You just never know how these live streams are going to go, which I really like, because it's that spontaneous factor. Benjamin says it's a cultic racket. Yes. And Johnny says it's similar to addiction recovery. And also Benjamin says, let's stay mindful of language. Yeah. It's so hard, especially when you people starting to speak out, if they choose to, if they've been in an MLM, it's hard. Oh, here we go. Wait on. Oh, Starla says sign the petition a couple of days ago. Yay! Right on. All right. And Dave says, as I understand it, folks like Bill Keep and Stacey Bosley can't be seen speaking at an anti-MLM conference if they're supposed to appear at a trial as a witness against an MLM.
Let's say hypothetically, there was a girl at my gym who I liked. You know, you're an athlete, so maybe you can tell me this.
Okay.
If a girl likes a guy at the gym, how would the guy know? What would she do? Because I'll tell you right now, I am not the type of person, and it's not from any sort of fear or anything, but it's just because I don't want to be that guy. I'm not the type of guy to like go up to a girl at the gym and be like, hey, no, I was muted before.
Okay. Good.
So tell me.
Okay, it depends on the girl. She might She may not make eye contact. She may be kind of being like, kind of avoiding you, like going out of the way, which could be like sending mixed signals. Depends.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
There's a girl at the gym that I saw today, and I've seen her there before, but I forgot about her.
Okay.
And this girl is another species level of good looking. And I thought I caught a couple glimpses of her looking at me, but it could have been just totally like her looking around.
Right.
And I'll tell you what I did. I've never done this before, but today after I showered and I like put my clothes on, I thought, you know what? I'm looking good. I'm going to go, because before I was just in my gym clothes, right? So I wasn't really stunting on them. I didn't have my $10 women's watch from Value Village that I got in 2017 on. And that gets a lot of eyes. So after I got my clothes on and showered and whatever, I went back out into like the gym area around where she was and pretended that I like had dropped something before just so she could see me. And I think that I really did plant a seed here. And who knows? Basically, you know, stay tuned for the wedding. It'll be live streamed on Always Marco.
Awesome. Was she there? Was she still there looking?
Oh, she was still there.
Oh, well.
She was still there. We'll find out. We'll find out what happens. But so I swear, man, this girl, me and her would make an absolutely gorgeous baby.
Oh, this is going to be good to have this. This is the beginning of the lore.
Swear to God.
Continuing.
I swear to God. And you know what? This happens to me probably once a year, maybe more, where I think that, where I just start like, I've never even talked to the girl, but I just start creating this like future in my mind. And me and this girl have already been together 15 years in my mind, just from what I've imagined today. Like I've imagined us arguing about shit and then like resolving it and becoming closer. I've never even talked to her. So I'm crazy and I need to get out of the house more, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you never know.
Keep posted. Keep posted. What I do know is this. Maybe me getting into the best shape possible won't do anything, but me not getting into the best shape possible certainly won't do anything. So I'm going to keep going on this route. That's
true. That's true. When you said that about like going in and like going in the area, pretend that you dropped something. This is years ago. There was, I pretended there was something wrong with my bike. I have never fucking talked about this publicly, and I hope nobody.
Dig deeper, Julie. Dig deeper.
This is ancient history. So this is over 25 years ago, and I was like, I just fucking lied. I'm like, there's something wrong with my bike. It's like when I
don't know how to fix it.
It's like when I squeeze the brakes, like, I don't know. And then this guy came over and he like bent over and he was looking at my bike and he had a really nice ass. Yeah. And he's like, there's nothing wrong with your brakes. I'm like, I know. I didn't fool him. Genius. Nothing ever came of it. I was like,
genius. But I can't do that at the gym. I can't go up to some girl and be like, I don't know how this machine works. She'd be like, you just move your leg. Like
press the start button. Sometimes.
Yeah, there's no slick way to do that as a guy at the gym. And then even if you did do that, you just look like an idiot. Like if anything, that's not a card a guy can play, I don't think. But Johnny wants to know, how was she dressed? Man, she was so sexy, but she wasn't dressed in like a haram way. She was wearing like long pants, but they were still like, I don't even know if they were designed to be skin tight, but her physique was just so prominent that you could just tell. But I was attracted to her like in large part because she wasn't showing everything, but it was like enough that I was like, God damn, you know.
Awesome.
So
just say she happens to come across this video. Would you like to say anything?
God damn. Damn, that's what I gotta say. That's my pickup line. You know what she looked like, bro? Her face. You know the movie Matilda? She looked like Miss Honey from Matilda. You know Matilda's teacher. I'm gonna share the screen right now. Okay. Her face looks like Miss Honey, but a little bit younger. She was probably her early 20s. I mean, I'm 27, so it's reasonable. She looked like Miss Honey from Matilda. Her face, and then the rest of her. Let's say she was healthy. Trust me. Where is it? Let me pull the picture up. Let's not talk about all this MLM stuff.
Benjamin's like, double damn.
Are y'all seeing it? Share it.
Adding it right
So
now.
her face, look, this is Miss Honey.
Oh,
This is Miss Honey from Matilda. So, I mean, look at this. Just
look
a
at
very
that.
like understated natural beauty, just very, you know, just beautiful, you know, just like traditionally beautiful. And God, God. God damn.
Yeah. So I've
Just
been with my partner for over 20 years now. And when he first, I used to own a dollar store. This is years
oh
ago.
wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, I was actually a business owner, if you can believe it. And I still got sucked into a pyramid scheme. And when he started, he was coming to the dollar store and he would buy like candles and stuff. He kept buying more and more things. He was dating somebody at the time. And so I was like, I'm like, if somebody is with somebody else, I'm like, no, like that's just off limits. So I'd make sure like I would make eye contact with her, but not him, you know, just to like show respect or whatever.
You didn't want to poach her downline.
I did not want to poach the downline. No cross line. No, that's against FTC regulations. That's the only thing that they uphold. So, but then eventually, I don't know what happened. Like they broke up or something. He kept coming into the dollar store and he started buying ice cream for my mom because my mom, she ended up quitting her job. She came to work for me and then some other staff. So he's buying them ice cream. And then my mom was like, oh, this guy is really nice. He's buying me ice cream. And then the one day she's like, he's here. He says that he's going to ask you out. And I was like, I was going to take my bike and go home. I still had my bike, right? Different guy. So I'm like, going to go bike home. So I wheel it back in and I pretend that I had to be in there for some reason. You know, I'm like just making something up because he's supposed to ask me out. Well, he chickens out.
Pussy.
He chickens out. So then it was like, I don't know, maybe a week later or something. It was like near closing and we had these like a fake flower section. These are really popular in small town Alberta. People buy them. They're $1.50 a bunch and they put them up at the graveyard because they're perennial then, you know, you just stick them in the graveyard. So like I was like crouching down. I was stalking all these fake flowers and Mike comes in and he was wearing cowboy boots and I fucking hate cowboy boots. Like, I don't know what it was. It just grossed me out. Right? I know. Sorry.
You what now?
However,
how dare you?
There was something about, I didn't care. And I remember I could hear his boots like this.
Click, clack over here, Papa.
I heard the bell, ding, ding. He fucking comes walking and the boots didn't bother me. I'm like, sexy. Why do these boots not bother me? And he made a beeline right for me as I'm like putting these flowers away. And he's like, do you want to go for coffee with me? Woo! And my face went beet red. And I'm like, oh, okay.
And he was like,
oh, that's the story there. All right.
And he didn't use no clever dollar store line. He didn't say like, I can't believe you own a dollar store because you look like $1 million. He didn't say no clever shit like that.
No, he did try to like say, where do you buy all these things? And I said, if I tell you that, I'd have to kill you. I was like making a joke and he was like, that's not even funny.
If a girl says some shit like that, that's flirtatious. You know what girls love to say, and this is so dumb, but like so see-through, and you just have to have a poker face about it. Girls would be like, I'll fight you. Bitch,
really?
You would get knocked out if we fought. Obviously, you don't mean that, but that's what, or like girls on Tinder, they'll always be like, I'll beat you in Mario Kart. Why do you all think that Mario Kart is like, I know what that means, bro. We're not going to even fucking play Mario Kart once. So, but yeah, that's sick. That's a true love story right there. That's like I could see like, what's that movie? You've Got Mail, like Tom Hanks and what's her name back in the day. Like, that's so cute. Like she runs the little bookstore and he's like the big, you know, company man. But in this case, you're like running the dollar store.
Was that coffee? And I still like coffee. We went out for coffee and then he had a book. It was like, how astrology for dummies or something. Mm-hmm. And he asked what my sign was. And then he wrote, like he had a little book. And then the next time we met, he made all these notes. I'm like, oh my God. And he was like, so like self-effacing, I think. Like he had no problem like making fun of himself. Or I was like, this guy's so nice. Like, oh my God.
he read online that's what girls like, astrology. So he like looked up some shit real quick. He's like, damn, she's the Leo sun.
It worked. That and the coffee, I'm like, I'm sold.
So he didn't even say hello or like, what's your name? Like, I'm assuming he already knew, but
he just came in. Well, he had been coming in for a number of
weeks. So you knew him without knowing him. Right.
He had a lot of stuff. He bought a lot of candles. I used to sell these wrought iron suns. This was a fucking hot commodity in the crow's nest. It was like dark green wrought iron, and it had a little hook, and it was just like this circle, and then with these little sun things.
Oh,
and
I know the one.
It had a pillar. So I mean, those were only $1.50. I'd retail them, and you'd hang that up. And he bought those. He bought pillar candles, all scented candles. And then one day, I wasn't there. He knocked over these wooden flowers. My mom made him buy them. I'm just remembering all this shit now. This is hilarious. And we talked about it like years later, right?
So funny.
Like, I can't believe she made me buy all that stuff. I'm like, well, you broke it. You break it.
He didn't want none of that shit. He got home, threw it all in the garbage. He didn't want none of it. He was just trying to have an excuse to be in there.
Oh God, it was so funny. Yeah.
Okay. Dave Vaughn says the best part of Marco is how he uses core childhood memories. Yeah, I like how I didn't notice, but twice during this stream I mentioned like the Superman cartoon I watched as a kid, and then I mentioned Miss Honey from Matilda. I don't know. You know when you're in like first grade and you look at the sixth graders and they're so big and whatever and mysterious to you, then you get to grade 6 and you feel the same. I still really feel the same as when I was in like grade 2 and I first became like sentient. You know, I don't remember anything from before I was like 7. Swear to God, I remember being 7, and as far as I know, that's when my life started. So I'm still there, to be honest with y'all. I'm still there.
I know. I'm 48 and I know people will be like, oh, you know, middle-aged woman or whatever. I'm like, who the fuck are you talking about? Because I don't feel that way. Like, I remember when I was 16 and we would get people to bootleg for us. Like, there was this 22-year-old. Yeah. And I remember, like, I couldn't even see him because it was, like, so dim. He was so old. 22 is like, you're so old. And beyond that, like, when I was growing up, if you turned 40, you'd have these black helium balloons and it would say over the hill 40.
Oh my God.
Things have changed so much. So now I'm just like, I think of myself, I don't feel like what I thought people would be like close to 48. I'm like, I do not. I'm like, I am not an adult at all.
I can't wait to get older. Honestly, I used to dread it, but now I think like me at 35, me at 45 is going to be such a G. Like, imagine me at 35. I'll have been working out for 10 years straight. Imagine me as I look now, basically, but with a little salt and pepper right in here and here. Ooh, that's going to be crazy. That's going to be crazy. Oh my God. That's going to be crazy. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you guys. But yeah, so I need to have my dollar store love affair with Miss Honey at the gym. I was going to go up and tell her. I was thinking if I do talk to her, I should just say to her, hey, sorry to bug you, but you know how you look like Miss Honey from Matilda? But then I thought, what if she doesn't know that and I show her a picture and she thinks that she doesn't look like that, or she thinks that she's way better looking than Miss Honey, or I don't know. I pussied out, plain and simple. I pussied out. And also, like, let's say she doesn't reciprocate or she has a boyfriend. Like, now every time I go to the gym, it's like, and I see her, I'm going to be like, oh, fuck. You know, I'm that guy. Oh, that guy is here that tried to holler at me the one time. And, you know.
It's tough. It's rough out there. It was hard enough before the internet and all this, like, swiping left and right on your phone and all that shit. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
oh, my God.
I haven't been on one of those apps in, like, a long, long time now. Probably a year. But, yeah, it is interesting that there's more access technically now to dating than ever before, but I also feel like the sort of Pareto principle is on steroids at the same time. Like, I watched actually a documentary that this guy, I assume he's like a data analyst, created it, and he talks about how, like, if you actually dig through the data, like, it's like a 90-10 ratio where 10% of the guys get 90% of all the matches from women. And so the last time I was on that app and I was swiping and swiping, I got like no matches. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm not that guy. Like, maybe I need to create a girl profile and see what kind of guys are out there to know who I'm competing with. Cause I mean, it's actually not such a mystery to me. You know, I'm 27. I'm doing all right for myself, but there's some guy out there who's 35, who's been on his grind for 15 years, who has a Mercedes and looks sexy. And it's like, he just wins. I have to admit, he just wins. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Time.
Yeah, but he probably does weird shit. There's always something with that. Like, there's always some, like, you know, there's
Yeah, but
some,
that's the,
you know, here's my advice. This is what I think, that if you feel like somebody had said, shoot your shot, or shoot your shot. It's like, what's very rare is when you see somebody who is just really honest and not trying to act, like not trying to flex the Mercedes or whatever. And they're okay with like fumbling. That's what's endearing. That's what it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I guess that's the detriment or the plight of dating apps too, is that you don't get the opportunity to be genuine or showcase your personality. It's so surface level. It's just your picture and your bio, and you get a 1 second opportunity to make an impression before they've swiped. And there's been many situations where I feel like, you know, on a dating app, like I'm like, I know I could get this girl if I was in person upon first encounter, because I don't know how to explain. But yeah, with this girl at the gym, it's tough because I tell myself, like, I'm not going to holler at girls, because if they want to, they'll make the first move or they'll let it be known. But at the same time, I know girls are so mysterious with it, where girls will be like, well, I glanced over at him and did this, so he should have known. And then they'll think that I'm not interested in them. Like, I just go back and forth in my mind. Like, maybe that was her, maybe. But then I think, am I crazy? Because I'm thinking maybe that was her, like, think like she likes me. So the
tension is going to build. If you're going to see something and it's worth a shot, to be like, you just respectful, gentlemanly, and just ask, you know, make conversation or whatever, and just see where it goes. I think like what Johnny says, get off the apps and do it the old fashioned way. That's what I think. Go, Marco.
I just feel like the gym is such a wrong place to do it, but I don't know where else I would do it. Like,
but it's real life. Like, it's not like you're prowling, you know, it's not like you're like, there's like, I'm going to the gym to pick someone up. Like, it happened. It evolved organically.
I don't know. It's just like the gym is really the only place I regularly go to where there's other people there. So I sort of have like there's sort of a sanctity to it as well that I don't want to desecrate it. It's like holy, you know, so fuck. Yeah. It's not like a natural, like if I was going to a friend's party or something, which I would never also do, but if I was going to like some event, I can't think of any event that I would willingly be at, but if I was at some event and a friend or an acquaintance was like, meet, blah, 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 to me, that's like a natural encounter. But yeah, short of me just cold prospecting out in the wild, I don't, not too keen on it. I don't know, like.
Oh, well, you know, here's the thing. If you keep those limiting beliefs, you're going to continue to self-sabotage.
Yeah, facts.
You got to get out of your comfort zone. The only growth that happens, only good things happen outside of your comfort zone.
If you speak it, you keep it. So, yeah, I think you know what would be the ultimate tell that a girl at the gym likes you is if she asked you for a spot. Like, you don't need a spot. You've been doing it. I'm looking at you. You know how to use that machine. You didn't, you know.
That's true. That would fall in line. Like, you know, what I use was like, oh, can you look at my bike?
Oh, of course. But that's such an advantage that girls have, is they can just like, you know, they know that men want an opportunity to prove how like knowledgeable they are. So an easy one for them is to just be like, I don't know how this works, you know. Anyway. Okay,
should we watch this video? What if we do this whole stream and we don't even watch this video? I'm gonna have to change the thumbnail.
Miss Honey, if you're watching this, I'm manifesting it through the computer. Miss Honey, if you're somehow watching Julie Anderson's stream, holla at me, bro. Like, this is crazy. You don't. I know you know who you are.
Maybe that's what's happened. It was like looking. It's like, I think that's that guy that's from YouTube.
Yeah, if only, right?
Never know.
All right, let's get into it. The 2-hour-long intro is done.
This is epic. All right, this is only 8.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. What's going on here? So again, this is going to be Sean Reyes, Utah Attorney General, speaking 8.5 minutes with Life Vantage, and he did speak at their convention in 2020. And you're going to see how brainwashed he is. Okay, where the hell is this? I have all these tabs pulled up because I had big plans. Now I'm trying to find out which tab it is. Sorry. Fuck. Where is it? Are you kidding me? Where did I put it? I'm trying to like find it to play it. Here it is. Oh, that's not it. Oh my God.
Task Magician says I should say to her, "Do you like me?" like,
this isn't it either. Where the hell is it?
You could explain it just like you have now, says Benjamin. Yeah, I feel like that would be whack because I'd go up to her like spewing all this indecisive shit. It's like that doesn't make me look like confident. That doesn't make me look sick. If any, I mean, and also I'm trying to imagine myself in her shoes. If I go up to her and I say, "Hey, you know who you look like? Miss Honey from Matilda." What if she's just like Kay? And then I'm like, "I just wanted to tell you that." It's like in my
That's okay. That's breaking the ice, though. It's like making conversation. And, you know, it doesn't, you don't have to like come across as being confident. It's like, you know, the confidence is in being not confident sometimes. It's just like being okay with just who you
hell
are.
no. I'm trying to do some James Bond shit at all times. I'm trying to, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to
It'll come out that way though. It's the genuineness, you know. That's my take on it anyway.
I'm completely delusional. So let's continue.
Okay, all right. Okay. Where the hell is this? All right, I've got this ready to go. Okay, let's go.
Awesome. Hey, happy Friday, Life Vantage family. This is Justin Rose, Chief Sales and Marketing Officer for the company, and so happy today to have Attorney General Sean Reyes on the phone with us today. Sean, welcome to the call.
Thank you. Is the angle okay? Should I raise
Yeah,
it?
you look good.
I don't know. Maybe it's better. I'm just gonna hold it while we're chatting, Justin. It's great to be on with you. I'm excited.
Yeah, you look fantastic. You know, Sean, first of all, I have to tell you, I've been in the industry of direct sales now for 30 years. And if you were to tell me 30, even 20 years ago that one of our keynote speakers at a convention is going to be an attorney general, especially from the state of Utah, I would have been like, wow, you're crazy, but I look forward to it. I love that you are coming in to speak to our distributors.
Pause for a second.
I love the fact that you've done your due
This, you know who this guy looks like? I'm sharing my screen. You know who this guy looks like? The original, like 1920s Phantom of the Opera prosthetics. If you look at his teeth, he has these teeth that are sort of sticking out in a way that reminds me of this like reveal of the Phantom from Phantom of the Opera. Go pull him up. Pull him up. Pull him up. Motherfucking Nosferatu on the Zoom call right here. No, let it run. Let it run and see. Keep that in your mind and then pause it on a frame where his like teeth are like that.
Okay.
diligence.
Maybe this is. Oh shit. Oh, the screen is.
Just play it. Let people fill it in their mind.
Okay. All right.
You understand our space, but even more than that, I know you have a little bit of history with direct sales. Can you just kind of give our distributors a little heads up on how you grew up?
Sure. Well, I have done a little bit of diligence, and I'm impressed by the company. I have an affinity for the industry because you've spent 30 years. I've spent over 45 years in the industry. I was almost born into the industry because my dad, an immigrant from the Philippines, who was.
You can't make this shit up. An immigrant from the Philippines. That's when I was like, holy shit.
So this guy's actually an attorney general?
He's the attorney, and he still is the attorney general of Utah.
Oh my God. And the other guy is from what company?
Life Vantage.
No,
and this was taken in 2020. So he's doing this. This is on Facebook. They looped it. It's an 8.5-minute interview. They looped it for 4 hours. But Sean Reyes, who still is the Utah Attorney General, spoke at Life Vantage convention, which Life Vantage is a Utah-based MLM, which is known for selling a supplement called Pro Tandem, which enhances your Nerf 2 and your Nerf 1 and mitochondria and nerdy genetics.
Made it up.
Exactly.
Wow. I mean, totally amazing, but super scammy, super scummy.
Oh yeah, and just take a shot every time he says the American dream too. Give you that heads up.
escaped a very tough situation, political persecution, came to the United States to live the American dream, where he met and married my mom. And she was a school teacher, BYU graduate. She loved that as an educator, but that didn't help a lot financially. It was tough.
Both of them vulnerable, escaping political persecution, coming to the United States, vulnerable immigrant. And then his mom is a school teacher, not making much money. He's describing the predatory tactics of multi-level marketing, but he thinks of it as a blessing.
Tough. Both of them trying to make ends meet. And one of the ways that he was able to truly live and capture the American dream, as an aside, the American dream, I think a lot of people misunderstand around the world. They think, well, it's a guarantee of success. It's not. It's a guarantee of opportunity. And because of the direct sales industry, my dad was able to have more opportunity. When it was a business that he could start on his own without a lot of capital. It was a business when people were discriminating against him because of his last name and where he was from. He could say, you know what, it doesn't matter. I can work hard. I can use my God-given talents and skills and really build something. And so, the direct sales industry is not the end all and be all for everyone. It's not the answer for everyone. And as a state regulator, I'm very aware that some in the industry, like all industries, don't follow all the rules. And
there's just some MLMs that are bad.
Yeah,
just
bad apple.
Some.
Bad apples argument, and it's just a way of both siding the argument, so that you never actually have to put your money where your mouth is. Well, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes we do the right thing, sometimes we don't. I also have a very hard time believing that his father was persecuted for his last name, because his last name is Reyes, which is also a very common Hispanic name, as well as a Filipino last name. And that's like saying he was discriminated against because his last name was Gonzalez. It's like one of the most common names in America. How many people with the last name Gonzalez do you think are in America? Or Reyes? It's like it's got to be one of the most common names. So I think that's complete bullshit too.
I was just thinking too, if LuLaRich, the Attorney General of Washington, was the one that filed the lawsuit for LuLaRoe, this would never have happened. This won't happen in Utah because he's the Attorney General in Utah.
I mean, Utah, Michigan, those are the places where it's like the deepest. Like the DeVos family owns how much of the actual land property in Michigan, So, Amway Center, Amway Grand Hotel, the Amway headquarters, museum, whatever, like they are a fixture. So, yeah.
I like to say that those bad actors are where I want to focus. And I think the good actors in the space agree with me that it only gives the whole industry a bad name. And so it's interesting because while I grew up in the industry, it's
like name one company. Life Vantage is that company. Life Vantage is the exact same as every other company. They do the same things. It's selling the opportunity, and they're using the same jargon. It's just so weird. The bad actors, like, it's just so weird to hear an attorney general talk like this.
Totally madness.
Given me an appreciation for what it can do, how it can empower families, including an immigrant family like my own. And at the same time, when you grow up in an industry, you see the excesses, you see the abuse that can occur. And so it's made me even more committed to going after bad actors in the space and companies, because I want to clean up the image. Some of what we'll talk about.
This is like Sean Reyes. I would like for you to look at the 4 hallmark characteristics of every multi-level marketing company: pay to play, endless chain recruitment, recruiting mandate, and extreme money transfer from the bottom to the top. Just look at those. Then also look at anyone that's like 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. It's going in with endless chain recruitment. But just look at that. Also look at the large populations of immigrants who are being exploited. Like what, you know, he's fucking brainwashed. It's wild to me.
I don't think it's so much brainwashing. I think it's that old adage, it is hard to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on his not understanding it. And I would heavily speculate that Mr. Reyes stands to gain. You know, he's an attorney general. He has better things to do with his time. If it wasn't lucrative for him in some way, shape, or form to do this Zoom call, I don't think he would be doing it. The MLM industry or whatever that company is likely paying him. And the MLM industry is also paying the girl at my gym to ignore me. So let's be clear about that.
It's Life Vantage. That's
I know. It's all around us.
Coming up at the convention as to how to make sure that you stay on the right side and that you win the right way. You know, you'll hear me talk a little bit more about that. I'm just teasing it. I don't want to give away.
Sorry, Dave Vaughn drops a bar. Even a good actor is faking it. If you think about the profession of acting, even good actors are faking. That's a bar. Where's the air horn? Let me hit the air horn.
Yes,
you won't even be able to hear it. You won't even be able to hear it, but I hit the Obama in the bars. Yeah, huge super bars. I mean, very interesting use of language there. Bad actors. Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
I would like to hear the air horns, but I know that it doesn't hook up to StreamYard, but I just really like the air horns. Yeah.
My keynote speech, but I would rather lose a case or a sale or even an election, lose doing it the right way than to win doing it the wrong way, cheating or lying or cutting corners, making claims or representations that aren't fair. But I'm going to work my tail off to win the right way. And I know there's a lot of winning in the Rose family, not just you and your success here, but your older brother, Coach Rose, and, you know, national champion and so many great years with the Cougar men's basketball team. That's what it's about. I like programs that emphasize not just winning. Winning's, you know, success is important, but doing it the right way. And that's a lot of what we're going to talk about. How to develop your business while you develop leadership skills and you develop opportunities, not just for yourself,
it's just dabbling. And it's the same thing that every multi-level marketing company says, do it the right way. Oh, because how do you do it the right way? Oh, you don't get paid to recruit. You just sell your products, because that's really, all these products are so amazing. And every multi-level marketing company is set up to be rewarded on recruitment, because it's all based on Amway, the blueprint of them all, the fucking mothership.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to continue watching this, you got to put on like 1.25 speed at least.
I know it's it's on Facebook, but it's only 5 minutes.
You can do it. You can do it on Facebook. Just click the gear.
It just says quality and auto 720p, but there's
only
that's
fine,
like
then.
2.5 minutes. There's only like 2.5 minutes.
Okay. I'm billing you per second. Go ahead.
I know. Okay.
Or many others. I love that you can export the American dream, that Life Vantage, like others in the industry, aren't only focused on domestic development. You really empower a lot of people who have much less opportunity than we do in America around the world to have a better life, to have a better quality of life. And so that's why I say you export often not just a product or service, but truly the opportunities, the American dream. So anyway, it's interesting because I don't think there's another regulator out there at the state or federal level, you know, attorney general, FTC member, or auditor, whomever, that has the experience and background that I have. And beyond just the direct sales industry, I was running a venture fund with my partners before this position as AG in public service. Spent some years as general counsel doing a lot of compliance for technology companies, and then 14 years in private law practice, representing a lot of tech companies and direct sales companies. And so it's given me an appreciation for the sacrifice that it takes for your distributors, for those that work. It's hard. You put a lot on the line. You take great risk. And I think we should be applauding that. I unfortunately know so many regulators who don't understand that. And so I think they're at times overzealous, and they don't give the benefit of the doubt to the company. I know this is not a monologue, it's supposed to be a dialogue, but you get me, you wind me up, and I just...
So fucking boring.
It is. Okay, it's 1 minute 15 seconds left. It is. It's so...
Why did you choose this video?
I'm sorry, because, you know, oh shit, because I selected it because it has the Utah's Attorney General, and I get a lot of comments on TikTok saying, "Oh, do people still get sucked into these pyramid schemes?" And I'm trying to show that there's like politicians, attorney generals that actually support it.
Boring. Boring. No, I get it. That is a great. I mean,
the point has been made. We don't need to.
But just the way he talks and drones on. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, we're gonna have the blah 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 blah. Shut the fuck up.
It's true. It's true. And
it's like monotone. It's like he's reciting an old stone tablet.
Yeah.
It's not like he's speaking like a human being. This is such a goon court life sentence of fucking boring. I sentence you to donate $5,000 to my Streamlabs. Boring.
It is. It is. And that's how these conversations go, though. Like when they're on these Zoom calls or when they're on stage. And that's so do you want to finish the end of this? It's like a minute. A minute 15 sunk cost fallacy, or we could just cut it. It doesn't matter.
Nah, fucking let's get through it. We can do that.
Okay, all right.
Keep on going. So let me stop there.
Please. You are definitely speaking our language, and I can tell you that the distributors you'll be speaking to in just 3 weeks now are the type of people that you love. They're the ones that want to win, but they want to win doing it right. They want to win by lifting others up.
Literally looks like the Phantom of the Opera picture that I showed, where he's like,
it's totally.
And I can't wait. I can't wait to introduce you to them and them to you. That's going to happen again in just 3 weeks. We're super happy that you've agreed to be a part of this event for us, and it's our very first ever international convention that we're doing virtual. So we appreciate you being a part of that. Brave
new world, new times. I'm awed by the resiliency of so many of these small business owners. I encourage them to, again, be careful, be responsible when it comes to our health, COVID, and those things. But also, don't let that suck the fun and excitement out of life. Building businesses, empowering people, and as you said, Justin, I love it, lifting others along the way. That's what life is all about. And this is an amazing, blessed life that we have here in America. So God bless everyone, and thank you for letting me be on with you.
All right, I appreciate it, Sean. Thank you very much. Life Vantage family, Sean Reyes, Attorney General.
That's it. And they loop that thing for 4 hours. Look at that. I thought this was like a whole big long video that I was like, oh, we could just kind of see clips of it, but it's just, that's it. And it just starts over again. 4 hours.
The most NPC conversation, just people talking at each other, not even talking to each other. I'm very honored to be here. It's going to be a great time. We're trying to do important regulatory things. There's bad actors in every industry. Dude.
He says every single one of those cliches.
Shut the fuck up, bro. The worst sin of all is how boring it is.
That's Life Vantage. Well, that's it. That's all I've got. I had these other, we talked on all other kinds of topics before this. So.
I like how we talked for 2 hours about everything but the topic of the video, and then we spent like a few minutes, and then only for me to go boring.
This sucks, exactly.
But that's how a lot of my streams go to, is like I'll plan to talk about one thing and I'll do it for a few minutes, but then the rest of it is just me going, off about Miss Honey or whatever.
It's the magic of a live stream. You never know what you're going to get.
Listen, the big takeaway from this stream that you guys really need to know about multi-level marketing is this. If me and Miss Honey decided to go on a date, and if things went well, and if we kept seeing each other, and if Miss Honey got pregnant, I would marry her and be loyal to her. And I've never even talked to her. And you know what? Maybe it's better that way. Maybe it's like the old cowboy movie Shane. In the old cowboy movie Shane, the little kid asks Shane, the hero, the stoic, you know, cool, calm, collected cowboy hero, which is how the media often describes me. But he asks Shane, have you ever been in love? And Shane describes a woman that he once saw off in the distance, off on the horizon, and how beautiful she was. And he said, she was the love of my life. And the kid said, but you never even talked to her? He said, nope, because Shane lives the life of a drifter. He doesn't have time to be caught up in all that stuff. Maybe that's what me and Miss Honey are destined for, because who knows? Maybe I'll go talk to her and I'll find out she has a really obnoxious laugh or something, and then it'll ruin it for me. Maybe this is the best it gets, you know?
It could be. Maybe she's in an MLM.
I can fix her.
You can.
I can fix her.
Anybody
for real.
can. It could be you. Yeah, that's right.
For real, I can fix her for real.
Fuck. All right.
You
Well,
know?
thank you so much, Marco. This has been awesome. I really appreciate it. And if you're watching this and you happen not to be following Marco, you haven't seen his content, I really recommend you check it out. He's been an incredible voice for Anti-MLM and has helped me personally unpack what I've been a part of. I really recommend watching his interview with Robert Fitzpatrick and also Douglas Brooks, and also his video about what is it called, where you do on the whiteboard the
why making money in an MLM is impossible.
Yeah, that's a really good video too.
Yeah. There's more really valuable videos coming too. The Steve Hassan interview, he's a cult expert. The video, what is a pyramid scheme? Yeah, the video about all the objections. There's a lot coming. Marco will be your savior indeed. And thank you for having me, Julie. I really appreciate it. It's always a good time talking to you, and you really understand this. And I'll invoice you, of course, for the
no problem
for the time. You know.
I'll give you I'll like re-invoice you for my relationship expert advice.
Yeah, I think the balance is still going to end up you owing me tens of thousands, but
I think it's because just for that last bit with Sean Reyes.
that I'm definitely taxing you and finding you for how boring that was, for sure. Like that's a goon court sanction on top of everything. Like you're going to be on a payment plan till you're 150 for sure.
All right.
Thank you, Julie.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much for watching, and see you again.